And we are back. Couch Company Podcast. I'm John. With me, as always, Tyler.
Hey,
I hate. We need to fix the setup.
We'll get it right.
I need the music.
Fine.
I'm a music guy.
I know.
I'm a music guy.
I'm sorry.
I need the music. When you cut it off abruptly like that, it actually destroys my momentum.
We have two options. Either I cut it off abruptly,
Yeah.
or you got to wait 5 seconds for me to get back to my mic.
Third option. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Live band.
Okay.
Live band.
Then foot the bill for the live band.
Live band.
Bring them on.
Speaking of footing the bill, okay, we were having a passionate discussion.
What a great transition.
30 seconds before. Stop ruining my momentum.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
For Pete's sake.
That wasn't really. If Pete's sake. Where does that come from? See, this is what happens. Okay, so we're having a passionate discussion.
No, I'll tell you where it comes from. So you know how they used to do Christ's sake, and it was like a big deal.
Yeah,
and you can't say Christ's sake. Pete's sake is like from St.
It's
Peter.
like, really?
It's like a little less.
If I was St. Peter, though, I'd feel a little offended by that. Like,
a little bit.
Oh, you can't blasphemize.
Yeah,
you
can't.
God, like,
Christ.
obviously, he's the big cheese, but like, I'm pretty important.
But if he's a St. Peter, I feel like
Wasn't he the first guy? Peter was
mean?
the first pope.
Oh, I wouldn't. I don't know.
I thought that's
it was
what
like
they said.
someone
back
was
in
the
first pope.
1903.
Yeah,
I believe was the year. Back in 1903, they said, hey, for Pete's sake, or for the love of Pete.
For the love of Pete.
Either or, yeah.
Huh.
That's when the Oxford Dictionary said that.
What? What are we talking about?
I'm telling you where you asked where the thing came from.
Oh.
Also, today, which
Yeah.
is Monday the 26th,
Monday the 26th.
is National National Oh for Pete's Sake Day.
Are you serious?
Yeah. See,
No
all
way.
of that was staged.
Really?
100%. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even plan that either.
I know. Yeah.
You were waiting for that.
Dude, I
You
know
were
what
waiting
you
for
say.
that.
I know 100%.
You're pretty good.
Thank you.
All right, we were having a passion.
It's also Kellogg's birthday. But go on.
like the cereal.
Yeah, John Henry Kellogg.
You think that's like the biggest, like cereal is one of the biggest scams ever, right?
What do you mean?
Well, A, it's not good for you. And B, it's like a 200% markup for like grocery stores.
Maybe.
It's one of the
if you
biggest
eat cereal,
markups.
it stops all heart attacks. So I don't know what the...
If you eat Cheerios.
Yeah.
Nobody eats Cheerios but me.
I literally had some for breakfast today.
Regular?
No, Honey Nut.
Yeah. That doesn't count.
It still has a heart on the box.
No, it doesn't.
It has a
No,
heart
it
on
does
the box.
not.
Yes, it does.
Well, it shouldn't.
Well, it does.
I'm going to assume.
All right. Let me know how that goes. You can buy a live band with that. So you were talking about your car.
Yeah, so I was talking about my car. I love my car. I was talking to Tyler. I'm thinking about getting my car detailed to really just make it nice again because I was like looking at pictures of it when I first bought it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, I remember when it looked like this. Kind of like when you look at pictures of yourself from 10 years ago and you're like, man, I remember when I looked like
Sure.
this. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So anyways, I was looking at prices, getting it detailed, and I was talking to Tyler about they have different levels of like what thing you want, I guess. And it's like how long. I was trying to explain to him it's unclear what they actually do, but there's just a duration like listed on there. And Tyler was like extremely confused by that. And he was like, well, they can just gonna do it for like 30 minutes and tell you they did it for 5 hours.
Yeah.
So anyways, I pulled up the website and I'm gonna go through exactly what they say. So there's no mistaking it. Because there is a chance I was explaining it incorrectly. Okay, here's the other problem. They ask you like what size your car is. Mm-hmm. So they have like a compact 2-seater with no back seat, which obviously isn't my car. But then they have a small and medium-sized sedan. Like, is my car classified as a sedan? I don't really have a back seat. I mean, it's small.
You only have 2 doors.
That's what I'm saying, but I have a back seat.
Yeah.
Like they're saying, like the example they give for the 2-seater is a Miata or an SLK, right?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
super small cars,
Right.
which isn't me. But the example they give for the small medium is like a Honda Civic. And I think my car is like bigger than a Honda Civic, but I only have 2 doors.
Not the interior, though.
Yeah. I don't know what I would put. I have to ask them about that. And then they have large sedans / small. Probably small, right?
Small
smaller
sedan?
medium.
It would be small. You would have to go over like the
I don't know.
interior, right? Like if you're... Well, continue. Go
Anyways,
on.
so you pick your size, and then what happens after that is they have different options, right? So they have exterior only, and it was $100, like I was telling you. And it says service time approximately 1.5 hours. And then it has an asterisk saying depending on condition and size. That's all it says. That's all the description is. And then interior only, which is actually more expensive. I didn't realize that. It's $129 for the interior only.
Now, the time it takes, are they saying that is conditional or the cost is conditional?
I think it's the time, because that asterisk is right after the hours.
Okay.
And then the next line is starting at $129. So maybe they might charge you more because it says starting at, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then they have what's called the gold standard, which is 2.5 hours, right? And that's all it says, $159. And then the executive, which is 3 hours, $229. And then the showroom, which is $329, and it's 4 hours.
So $379 is way different than $500.
Yeah, I was talking to that.
Well, then I would definitely do $329 and just roll the dice.
Roll the dice,
Yeah.
showroom.
Here's the thing. There are a couple ways to do it. One, you could go the lowest.
Yeah.
Just see what they give you. And if your car is not that bad, or it's to like your quality where you're like, oh, this is clean now, or this is better than I would have done
Yeah.
for the cheapest,
Yeah.
then you come out ahead.
Right.
Worst case, you don't like it. You're
Right.
like, all right, well, I want to see your best.
Right.
And then if you paid for the cheapest and the best, now you're paying $129
Here's the thing too.
more.
Here's the factor you got to think about as well. Is like if I go cheap first and then I go best, that's the ball's in their court for being like, oh man, we really got to show them what the best looks like. You know what I mean?
Which is going to be tough to do if they already did like the initial clean.
No. I'm talking like down the road.
Oh,
if they remember.
Yeah.
So then, but if I go the opposite way, where I go from best to worst, it might be like they're going to
Leaves the field
purposely
open,
do a
yeah.
shitty job to show me that the worst is not worth it.
I doubt that they
won't remember me.
probably not.
But if they did, that's how my brain works. Everyone remembers me and everyone likes me.
I never understood the value of time in that sense. So it's like, okay, we're putting a value on the time that they spend over the quality that they would do, right? So
I think when it comes to cleaning a car or cleaning anything really, I think it's time is a bigger factor. I mean, quality is obviously
depends.
important,
yeah,
but if you have high quality and low time, you're not going to get everything. It's really about making sure you hit every spot, I think.
probably, but what are their credentials? Like I don't know. Like who's doing this?
You want me to tell you the business name?
Sure.
I think it's North Hills Auto Detailing.
So
Pittsburgh
that's all they
Car
do.
Detail.
So that's what they do.
PCD. That's what they do. Yeah, it's just
Okay.
it's just
All
that.
right.
They do mobile detailing, ceramic coating, and engine cleaning.
Okay.
Yeah, they seem legit. I
Sure.
see them. I pass them all the time on the main road, and I'm like,
if that's the name of your business, if that's what you do,
That's
on
what they
a
do.
day-to-day basis, then that's different
That's what they
than
do.
if you're like, oh,
so maybe it's the industry standard to go by duration.
maybe.
Like maybe you're dumb.
Oh, 100%. Maybe I'm dumb. I'm just saying, like, you know, if you're looking at it from like,
You're
like
looking at it from a design sense, right? Your
I
designer
guess.
brain's really getting in the way of.
what I'm saying is, like, let's say you've got a really good guy that's good at his job, and he cleans
What's his name?
your wheels, Dylan. And
No, different name.
different name,
Dylan wouldn't be good. I'm thinking Jim.
Jim.
Oh yeah, Jim's a car guy.
No,
through and
Jim-
through. Oh,
Jim's a car guy.
Jim's more of a car guy
He's
than
too
Dylan.
old. Jim ain't
Dylan's
gonna-
like 18.
Yeah, well, Jim ain't going to get on his knees scrubbing where you need to be scrubbed.
Oh, Jim's been doing
He's-
this for 35 years.
and
Absolutely,
his
he's going to do
joints
that.
know it. And his
doesn't matter.
joints know it.
He did it yesterday.
You
He's
think-
going to do it today.
You think that after
You
the other
think
6
today's
cars,
the day he can't do it anymore?
the other 6 cars he did today,
Today's
and
the
then
day he retires?
Here comes John waking
Get
up
the
at,
fuck outta
at
here.
2
You don't know what
p.m.
you're
on a
talking about.
weekend.
No.
Oh, I slept in because I was out
I
partying
would do it.
the
I
night
would do
before.
it in the middle of the week. I do it right in the middle of the week.
Dude, Jim had enough on his plate.
Whatever.
You're the straw.
Tell me how Dylan's going to fuck up my car. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying
No, just
Dylan's
tell me.
really good.
No, he's not.
Dylan is a protege. He was trained by Jim himself,
Oh, he has
and
good
he
knees.
knows
Yeah.
how to knock stuff out. So
I
if,
guess.
if your car doesn't need,
If I knew
a
Dylan was
5-hour
doing my
clean.
car and it's his first time, I better get a discount on that.
well, you would think, but
Like,
that's
I
not
mean, how
it
do you
works.
feel about Dylan the doctor, first time surgery? Oh, but he's great. He's great. He's fresh out of school, Tyler.
Yeah,
You wouldn't feel good about that.
probably not. But what if he's like this protege? Like, Oh,
Just because he
he's a
trained with the
savant.
best doesn't mean he doesn't need some time to adjust himself
Yeah,
to become the best.
right. But
And how do you learn? Through mistakes. And I don't want my car to be a mistake. You understand?
I'm sure there's some sort of warranty with it.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what to tell you.
What were you saying about this anyways?
What was I saying? So here's the thing.
Yeah.
Jim's going to go on his knees.
I knew I'd
break
win.
his knees.
Yeah. And then Dylan's going to come
And
in.
then Dylan's going to come in
Yeah, yeah.
and fix everything up for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all you're saying?
That's it.
No, you were saying something. I said, what was this
Yeah,
game?
no. What I was saying was if Dylan's looking at your wheel,
Yeah.
and your wheel's like more or less fine,
Okay.
you knock it out real quick. You could spend 3 hours on your wheel or 1 hour on your wheel.
Well, it says depending on
Yeah.
the condition.
Right.
My wheels are dirty,
So
though.
why would you spend
Okay.
the max amount if your car always looks good? Like, is
But
your
it
car
doesn't
that
look
bad?
great.
Sure, but if it looks good, not great,
Do you ever have...
you need a middle of the road. You don't need like top of the line. Top of the line's like my car, where like I haven't gotten that thing clean since 2013.
Yeah, but your car, the ceiling on your... I would never go the top thing for your car. The
Why?
ceiling on how your car looks is not good. Your car's not
Sure
a
it
good-looking
is.
car.
What are you talking about?
It's a Hyundai.
Hyundai Elantra,
Dude,
2013.
it can
baby.
it can look nice, but like not that nice. So I would do like the third level maybe. And it's old. I don't know. How about this? We both do it at the top level. We'll see how it goes out. Or I'll do it at the bottom level. You do it at the top level.
No, if anything, I do the bottom level.
You just said you would do the top because it hasn't been cleaned in years. My contention is that since it's so dirty, the bottom level would look so much better than what you had previously. Why not save the money and get to a point where it's like night and day either way? Like it's going to be night and day either way. So just go $100.
That's still a lot of money.
No, it's not.
$100?
You spent 4 times that amount on a concert.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't have a rebuttal for that.
No,
one.
this is the problem when you tell me things.
Yeah.
I hold it against
I gotta
you.
stop telling you things. That's fine.
Absolutely. It's difficult being friends with me. 'cause
I don't like my car, so like
Yeah.
I don't think it deserves a.
I'll tell you what you should get. You should get a Toyota 86.
Yeah.
That thing is nice, and then that's
Then
when
I'll
you
be
get
right
the top.
there with you.
Exactly, dude. You know
Yeah.
how good we'd look driving down, allowing pretty women to go to the stoplight
Dude,
first.
the G86s are very highly rated with children. Like
Yeah.
getting a car seat in there is
It's the perfect
super
car
easy.
for you. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I would like it. You would gain my admiration and respect. It's great for kids.
Yeah.
Gas mileage isn't bad. It's got some pickup to it. It's light, handles well.
Yep.
It's got a boxer, 4-cylinder. It's a great car. It's fun to drive.
Cylinder though.
Yeah, but it's a boxer engine. It's
I-
efficient,
I don't
man.
know that.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's a good engine. Promise.
I need the moment I touch the gas, I need it to go. I
It
want
goes.
that
That
sport.
thing's light. That
Want
thing's
that
so
sport.
light, dude.
Yeah,
Don't
but-
let anyone fool you, dude.
But how can what if I have a trailer I want to haul?
Get the
Or what if I'm going to IKEA and I need some, like a couch?
That's where you. But Chelsea's got her sedan.
Yeah.
Or her SUV. I mean,
Yeah.
you're fine. Anything when you need room, you take Chelsea's car.
Yeah,
When
but if
you-
I take Chelsea's car, then she'll take my car. And
Yeah.
she's going to get a
No.
caramel macchiato.
You know why?
And she's going to put
You
it
know
in
why
the cup
she won't
holder.
take your car?
Why?
You get the stick.
I can't drive stick.
What?
I can't drive stick.
You told me you could.
That's because it's guy code.
Oh, Tyler.
If you ask
Oh,
another
Tyler.
guy in the privacy of your own home, oh, can you drive stick? You're bound by the rules of guy code
Why
to say
would you
yes.
admit it now then?
Because we're on air and I have no, I don't know. That's the law.
Learn stick.
That's no.
Oh, you know how cool you'd look?
Sure.
Your
but,
daughter would respect you infinitely more
I
if she
don't
knew
know.
you
By the
drive
time
manual.
my daughter
And then you could
is-
teach her how to drive manual, dude.
Yeah, just in time for all that stuff to be outlawed and we're in electric cars for the rest of our days.
I think we got some more time.
That's a long time. That's like another 10 years, 12
16,
years.
16.
Well, yeah, I guess that's fair. 16.
16 exactly.
Is 16 the youngest you
Driving
can get
weight.
permit?
Yep.
You can't get like 14 or something?
You get like
15?
15, I think.
Yeah.
There's like a cutoff or something, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Still, that's 15 years. We're going to be electric.
No.
In 15 years?
I'll bet you any amount of money you want to bet.
Oh, man. I wonder how much electric cars are going to be. You can buy me my first electric car. That'd be fun.
Okay. Deal. 15 years. Yeah.
As the standard?
Not as the standard, but gas cars will still exist.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure. Like you
gas
need your
cars will
relics.
exist. 25%, at least 25% of the population will still drive gas cars in 15 years, guaranteed.
I think that's more of a. That's more of like an economic like, what people can afford type of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, what do you think we're talking about?
Man, I want to.
I mean, a lot of it, like electric cars, make sense in a lot of scenarios. Like
in most scenarios,
exactly.
Yeah,
it's more convenient.
Yep.
The maintenance is so much easier, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot more technology in it, like so it's better for the user theoretically. I contend that it's less fun to drive. Some people would argue with that, but from a gas standpoint, the efficiency is like the batteries are not there yet.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say, like, unless there's a big breakthrough, that they're going to be there, right?
Here's the thing, is when you say fun to drive,
Yeah.
and people always say fun to drive,
Yes.
like, fun to drive is just by definition breaking the traffic laws, right?
Not necessarily.
Like, what is fun? Like, what is fun about a gas car that an electric car doesn't have if you're following the rules of the road?
I can be at a stop sign and go 0 to 40 and slam on the gas. It's not breaking any laws. If the speed limit's 40 on that
sure,
road.
but I mean 0
That's
to 40 is like,
Oh, it's fun. That's fun.
yeah, but I mean, you could do that in an electric car.
It's not fun.
Why?
Because they're okay, look, electric cars, to me, it comes down to the audio of it. The auditory experience of a gas car is one of my favorite things. That's why I specifically got the car I got. Because I think it has one
You like
of the
to
best,
wake up the neighborhood whenever you...
Dude, it has
leave.
one of the best engine notes. Just the Hemi V8 is one of the best engines of all time. It's just classic.
I mean...
Electric cars, look, they're fast.
Yeah.
They're instant torque. That's fun. But for me, you're losing a whole dimension of driving. It's a lot. Like a lot of people say that like manual cars or automatic cars are way less fun to drive, and that's a sound argument as well. Like you don't have that control over.
Would you say manual cars are 25% or less?
By when right now?
Yeah,
Less
Okay.
easily.
All right.
Like they're either old cars or they're
Right.
specially
Yeah.
made to be manual. Yeah, no, manual cars are
15 years, man. That's a long time. I think
It's a long time.
I think you would be under 25%.
All right,
or
let's
gas
take the bet
cars.
then.
All right, I'll take the bet.
All right.
I'm not betting a car on it, but
What are we betting?
Cheeseburger.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I don't fucking care. Sure. Thought we were gonna have a
but from
sweat
a
there for a
nice
second.
one. A nice, like, what's a? I mean, who knows? Cheeseburgers might
By
be
then,
really
we'll have our
expensive by
top 10 cheeseburgers.
That's true.
From
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
then. Yeah,
We got to start doing that.
we
Sometime.
do. Yeah.
I did. So I didn't want to say this, but now
you already went somewhere.
I went somewhere.
You went somewhere.
My parents took me out for my birthday.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
And it was the number one place on the list too. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it, but I had
Who
to.
picked your birthday dinner?
My mom.
Your mom picked
mom.
your own birthday dinner.
She
You didn't-
listened
you
to the
didn't drop it?
episode.
Did
and
she really?
No.
I was gonna say no
But
way.
she heard me talking about it.
Yeah.
She's good.
She's very good.
My mom is one step removed from being Batman.
Yeah.
Like growing up, I have a lot of traumatic experiences because
Mm-hmm.
I never got away with anything.
Yeah.
Everything I did wrong was caught by my mom, down to the T.
I told you how I actually recorded my mom once. I got out of something. She was saying she like went in my room and just saw like this mess or whatever.
Yeah.
And I said I cleaned it up or whatever.
Yeah.
But she like went looking for it. And
You're recording?
Well, I didn't mean to, but she tripped my webcam or whatever at the time.
Yeah.
And there's literally footage of her like trying to. I forget all the details, but like it didn't line up with what she said.
Yeah.
And it was that moment where I'm like, oh, she's
That's like an Ace Attorney
It's like a little
moment.
bending the truth a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
I don't think that argument worked. I think I was probably in trouble for recording her, but
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that.
Me neither. I just remember getting in trouble all the time as a kid.
Yeah.
As a youth.
No, I was a terrible kid.
Me too.
Yeah.
I was horrible.
I was great for everyone else, but my parents, I put them through.
I was
a lot.
horrible for pretty much everyone.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
so I'm better than you. Okay.
Well, That's one way to look at it.
I mean, that's just the facts. That's what we just stated.
I wouldn't say that's facts.
All right, fair enough.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Sure.
Life's long.
Yeah. God willing.
15 years. We'll see where we're at.
Dude, there are times when I just think I'm just going to like, tonight's the night. Like, I don't wake up. That's problem, right?
Yeah, I was going through this period in time where like I was really in my head about that.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, there's something wrong with my heart.
Yeah.
And I went through all this shit. I got like a EKG and everything. Like I went to the doctors.
Oh, jeez.
Totally fine. Totally
it's
fine.
all in your head.
They're like, dude, your heart's great. I'm like, that helped. That helped a lot.
That's good.
So now I've been good. Although today I was feeling kind of weird. But I think what it is when you are not eating and you're cutting, you get really lethargic, and then like you can get like arrhythmia in your heartbeat and stuff like that. That's common.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Because like I was eating like really poorly because it was like New Year's, and then it's like my birthday. It's one thing after another, right? The Super Bowl. So I'm just eating like terribly for like 2 months straight. I'm like, all right. I got 2 weddings this year. I got to get back on track. And you know me and you are pretty similar in this regard. We just go extreme. So it's like I have like
you want
one
the quickest
protein.
Results. Like
It's so bad. It's just like I had like one protein shake and then I'd eat dinner.
Yeah,
that's all I'd have in a day. So like today it's been catching up to me where it's like, oh, I'm kind of lightheaded, not feeling good. So I had an egg.
Eggs are fine.
Egg and toast. Tied me over.
That's better. Yeah.
You know what I love?
What do you love?
English breakfast, dude. They got a great breakfast. English food's terrible.
Yeah.
Their breakfast is pretty good. It's like
toast
eggs and toast and beans and tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great little breakfast. Oh yeah.
I don't know. Beans for breakfast.
No, beans for breakfast. I am a big bean guy.
That'd be a good like a brunch.
No, I'm a big bean guy.
All right.
I love beans.
I like beans as much as the next guy.
Beans.
Next guy, as long as it's not Mike.
Just works so well. You dip your toast in the beans.
Yeah.
I love it. I think they really know what they're doing when it comes to breakfast. Everything else, terrible, except fish and chips. Very good, too.
You know what I was thinking?
What were you thinking?
We were talking about top fives and stuff, not to jump the gun.
You jumped the gun.
Sorry.
That's okay.
We have like 8 boxes of Girl Scout cookies.
Why?
Because Chelsea was like, oh, what do you want from the, like some girl was selling them in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And being the new people that we were like, oh, we're going to be the cool house.
Yeah.
Just give us one of everything.
Here's the big test, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that is cool. Yeah. You got some points with that. But Halloween is going to be the big. It's going to be the big time.
We'll
what
go
are you
big.
thinking for the catalog?
For the catalog,
you got to go king size.
King size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's the select? I mean, do you just do our top 5? A little.
Oh.
You know, and then you can have a little thing.
Oh, put a little
that says Couch Company's official ranking.
Yeah. Put a little like business card in for everyone.
Oh, that's perfect. And then when their kids listen to our podcast, you are all hated by the whole community.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll take it.
Yeah,
because the numbers go up.
The numbers go up. Controversy. That's what we need. We need a big controversy.
Yeah. We're gonna have to get into the Fortnite scene or whatever the young kids are into nowadays.
I think Fortnite's out. I think Pal Worlds was in for a little bit, but what is it now?
Pal Worlds wasn't.
So how about this? You were talking about that Belro game.
Yeah. Wow. We're really just kind of foreshadowing everything for this episode.
I mean, we can jump into that section now if you want to. But when you were talking about it, my brother.
Yeah.
I saw my brother hop on it on Steam.
Yeah.
And I was asking him about it today as he was kind of running through. He's a big card game guy.
Yeah.
He loves. You ever play Slay the Spire?
Yeah. Slay the Spire.
He's a big Slay the Spire guy. So he's a big card game guy, and so he gravitates towards those like kind of roguelite deck building kind of games. So he was really liking this one. I guess it's kind of like poker is how he's explaining it to me.
It's 100% like poker.
So you play like poker. Now, what I don't understand is
it Balatro or Balatro?
Balatro.
Yeah. Balatro.
Baltro, I thought.
No, Bala. So the A is an ace.
A silent though.
Okay, so Baltro. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know.
No, go. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about Baltro.
I was confused because it's like, how do you build your deck? So like, you get to pick like aces are better, or like Joker's probably really good or something. I would have to see like the mechanics of the game. It wasn't making sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, we could jump into it. This is kind of. I wasn't ready for this. All right.
Yeah,
Balatro, which is like, I think $15. You can get it for like 28% off Green Man Gaming right now. $13 bucks.
10% off on Steam right now.
Okay, perfect.
It is early.
It is easily worth that, if not more. If you have any type of like Steam Deck or portable handheld, it's also awesome. But it's poker, right? So you're gonna go small blind, big blind, boss, and you do that, and you up the ante. I think it's 8 times. So every time you beat a boss, it goes up 1. I think. So you're going through essentially 8 rounds of it, right? So anyway, you're playing a poker game. It's 5-card draw. And it's not exactly poker, but it's like full houses, flushes, straights, all that is part of it. So you have your card game. It's 52 cards, normal deck. You get your 5 cards, and you pick your 5 card, or you pick, it might be 8 cards. It's like 8 draw, and then you pick your 5 best ones.
Okay.
To make a poker hand.
So you just get 1 draw and you pick it. It's not like you get 5 and then you get to replace a certain
You can
amount?
replace. So it's like if let's say it's 8 and you can replace up to 5 cards at a time. So normal rolls, you draw 8 cards, you pick your 5 hand, you put it up, and you get scored based off of that hand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
The whole point is when you go small blind, big blind, boss, the small blind starts out, you have to accumulate 300 chips.
Okay.
Right? So in order to do that is like, okay, here's my 8 cards. Oh, I have 2 pair. Cool. So you put up the 2 pair. Normally 2 pair gets you like 40 chips with a 2 times multiplier. And so that's your base level. So at the very minimum, you're getting 80 chips.
Okay.
But then it also counts the value of the cards that you're playing. So it's like, okay, if you have a queen of diamonds, queen of spades, each of those are like plus 10, and then like all the number cards are their numbers. So if you have like a 2 and a 2, it's another plus 4.
Okay.
So you're getting 24 plus the 80. That all goes to your chip count. You have to hit 300 chips before either you have 5 hands to do it in, or you run out of cards of your deck. Very, very easy to do 300 in the beginning. But every time you move up in the game, obviously the chip count gets higher and higher and higher. Now, a smart person would say, oh, well, there's no way to get like 12,000 chips that way in a normal deck, which you're right. So what you do is after every time you beat like a round, you can get like special packs to either upgrade the level of your different hands. So for instance, if you're level 0 and you have a pair, it's worth like a 1 times multiplier and you get like 40 chips. You can level that up to now you're getting 60 chips and it's a 2 times multiplier or whatever.
Okay.
So there's that facet of it.
Right.
There are tarot cards built into it.
I saw that.
Yeah. So the tarot cards, what you can do is you can literally alter your deck, where you might draw a tarot card and it's like, oh, pick 3 cards. They're diamonds now.
Oh, cool.
But that doesn't change it. So it's like if you take 3 clubs and you're like, oh, these 3 are diamonds now, that just means now you have 2 8 of diamonds. And you lose the 8 of clubs or whatever. And you can kind of mix and match stuff like that.
Temporarily.
No, throughout your whole run, which I learned. So it's not just that hand, it's till you lose the game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you want to try to get your whole deck to be diamonds.
But you can. That's one way to play it. Like there's a bunch of different ways to do it.
Flush every round.
There are jokers, and it's all about getting multipliers, because even just playing normally, you're never going to get enough points without getting multipliers. So like you can get jokers, and the joker will be like every time a diamond is like whenever you play your hand, every diamond gets a ×4 multiplier. So if you get like a flush of diamonds, you see it all pop up, and it's like ×4, ×4, ×4, ×4, and then all the chips go up. So suddenly it's like, oh, you get 100 chips, but then it's like a ×90 multiplier. Yeah. And now you're getting like crazy amounts of chips.
It's like video poker.
Basically. Yeah. But it's like...
You ever play video poker?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. But you're like wrecking the deck, changing the deck. Yeah. You can make certain cards like, oh, the queen of diamonds is now a glass card, and that means it has a 1 in 4 chance of like shattering, and you just lose the queen of diamonds. But up until that point, she's like a +12 multiplier or something like that. Yeah. So you have to kind of like weigh the pros and cons, and then they do this kind of neat thing where you can just skip playing around. you lose out on like maybe some chips, maybe you get money at the end depending on how well you do, stuff like that. You can just skip that and get a perk, but then it's like a pro and con thing. And there are cards where it's like, hey, every time you skip a round, your multiplier goes up by like ×1, ×2, ×3, whatever.
Yeah.
So there's just so many variations, and every single run is so different that it's such a really well crafted, really neat game.
Yeah. Well, I was telling you, like on OpenCritic, it's 92.
Yeah.
And granted, like 18 reviews, right?
Sure.
But I will say this, like PC Gamer, I've noticed. So like I've started to,
they typically go low.
Recognize. Yeah. So I started to recognize some of the public, like, obviously there's IGN and the big hitters. I mean, PC Gamer's pretty big too, but yeah, they're really critical, right? Like some of the highest rated games, they'll be like 88.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's really hard to get a 90 for PC Gamer. And now here's the problem too. Like it's not the same writer on every game, right? Mm-hmm. So that definitely factors into it in my mind.
When you're talking like reviews and stuff.
Yeah, if you're talking reviews from a publication, I'm sure some writers are going to be more lenient than other people, right? And depending on the genre. Now, I would assume that like you're putting the person that has the most experience with that genre, like you have like a JRPG guy or like a shooter guy, and
generally speaking,
you know what I'm saying?
You want people that actually want to play the game.
And have like a lot of knowledge in that space so they can compare to other titles. And that's what the couch company needs. We need like a Souls-like person so that they can write reviews for us. Yeah. We're the fighting game guys now, though.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I know. That makes me excited.
Yeah.
Although I'm not, well, we'll get there. But yeah, no, it sounds interesting. I was looking at it and I saw my brother playing it, so I was interested. But
it's so
I think I'm going to try it.
So
I think I'm going to try it. Yeah. It looks like it cost $2 to make. I was looking at the screenshots.
But it's so like when you really start seeing how all the different cards interact and you really start thinking, because like there's literally a Joker card, and like you can hold up to 5 Jokers, which like dramatically change the rules of the game, right?
Yeah.
But like there's literally a Joker card that lets you skip one number in a sequence.
Okay.
So it's like you're doing like a straight. Now I read it as you can only skip one, but you can skip as many as you want. You can basically do every other card. So if you wanted to have
2, 4, 6, 8.
Yeah. And that's a straight.
Oh yeah.
So like
that's crazy.
You could have that card. So if you get that, and let's say they're all spades, and let's say you have the Jokers that give you multipliers on spades, lets you skip all of that stuff. And there's random Jokers that are like, hey, for ace 2, 3, 4, 5, all of that is a ×8.
Yeah.
So you could like, you make these crazy things where it's like, oh, you need 600 chips to pass, and you'll get like, 5,000. It's really, really cool. It feels really good.
I think it's one of those situations I need to play it myself to really feel it.
Yeah.
Like it sounds interesting, but it doesn't sound like a 92.
Every time,
but I think it's like you have to experience
you have to experience it, and you have to play a few hands, because the first run you're not really it's not gonna click.
Like this is poker.
Yeah, like you're gonna get through maybe a couple rounds, and eventually you'll run into issues, and then you'll be like, oh, okay, I lost. But then you unlock stuff at such a good clip.
Yeah,
and everything that I like, every time I get a new card or try a new strategy or whatever, it like I've never felt like not rewarded. There are a couple times where I'm like, I'm just gonna keep, because you can burn, like you can discard cards, but you can only discard, I think there are cards to change this, but like you have 5 hands and you can discard 3 times. So discards, if you want to discard 5 cards to try to like really get a flush or whatever, you can do that. But then the problem is after you discard 3 times, so it can be from 1 to 5 cards. You do that 3 times, now suddenly you're stuck with whatever cards you have, and like sometimes you screw it up. And then like, but you could typically find out like, oh, okay, there's an issue. There's a boss I'm stuck on, which is the one right before like the final boss, whose name I think is Flint.
Yeah.
But he's like, it like cuts your multiplier in half, cuts your chip count in half.
That's
I'm like,
what I was
I
gonna ask. So the
don't
enemy
know how to beat him.
Is like you have boons and positives, but the enemy is actively working against you. And
for the bosses.
Yeah. Oh, okay. For the bosses.
Yeah. So you're small blind, you're big blind. Those are like, hey, you play just normal hands.
Yeah.
And you can just try to power yourself up as much as possible.
Get ready for the boss.
And then you play the boss, but the bosses are randomized where it could be like, oh, this boss, every diamond you have is nullified. So if you have a bonus on diamonds or if you have these, like, you just it doesn't matter. You can play them and you get credit for it, but you don't get any bonuses from the cards.
Right.
There are other bosses where it's like, hey, any cards you played in the big blind, like the previous round,
it's out.
You can't use it. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I got to try it out. I think I am. Dude, it's amazing that you have like just 52 card decks.
Yeah.
Like standardized decks. And it's like, there's an infinite amount of things you can do with them.
Yeah.
Like my brother was explaining this to me. Like my brother's a smart guy, right? Has a PhD and everything. And he was explaining to me like how many combinations there are in a 52 card deck. And it's like, I'm not going to do it justice like the way he explained it, but it's essentially like you're never going to get the same thing twice. You're never going to shuffle a deck of cards the same way twice.
Yeah.
Like the odds of that, like there's more ways to do that than like some like particles in the universe or some fucking thing. It was like something crazy. I don't know if that's what it was. It was something crazy.
Yep.
Because I think it's like 52 factorial, which is like, 52 exclamation point, I think. And not a math guy, by the way, but it's like it's like this insane number of variations. But my point is like the amount of things that we can do with just a deck of cards. You just have this like one component, and it's just like infinite amount of games and things you can do with just that. It blows my mind.
I mean, and then take all the different things,
right,
and then say, oh, now you can make all queens, or you can change the
exactly,
suits
and then
do
it
whatever.
becomes more creative.
Wild.
But I just like the idea of like you just have this simple concept of this thing that everyone knows, right? And then you just expand on that.
Yep.
Which is I like that.
Justin, like my cousin sent out he does a weekly newsletter. Are you part of that? Are you part of the newsletter?
No.
thing?
Why am I not part of the newsletter?
I don't know. I'll have to give him your email address. So I get a thing every Friday, and like this week was about how just like special we are, because it's like, hey, if it was saying like, okay, if our not hemisphere, like our
equator.
The equator. Oh, I'm gonna edit this out.
The
ozone layer,
atmosphere.
like atmosphere. Thank you. Jeez, man.
I was talking to
some was closer, further away, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I was talking to my friend about this the other day. Like the sun's in a perfect spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it was closer or whatever.
Right.
I don't know how much closer it'd have to be to like destroy all life, but I don't think it's much.
But he had one of the actually let me see if I can just bring it up real quick. But he had a thing where he was like trying to explain like what the odds were, which I thought were just kind of like he did a really good job with it.
Is this something he does independently, just for his own? For
his company, he does a weekly.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So gravity.
Yep.
I'm skipping down here, but gravity is another miracle that goes beyond comprehension. If the gravitational force were altered by more than 1 part in 10 to the 40th power, we wouldn't exist. For my gamblers out there, which is why I thought you were somehow.
Here we go. That's how he hooks
for my
me
gamblers out there.
Yeah.
The odds would look like this: 1 in, and then there's just a 10 with just a ton of zeros. So basically, the odds of the Steelers winning the Super Bowl next year. He said that was a joke. Don't email me. Let me give you an illustration that puts this in perspective. So cover the entire North American continent from the equator to Greenland in dimes to a height that reaches the moon.
Yikes.
Then do that same process on 1 billion other North American continents. Mix all of those dimes together in one huge pile and mark one of them red. Then randomly choose a dime.
And we picked it.
The chance that you would pick the only red dime is 1 chance in 10 to the 40th power.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's coming up with all the measurements and stuff. He does his research.
That's kind of like the shuffling thing, man. It's something crazy like that.
Yeah.
And it's like you think like at 52 cards, you're like, oh, that happens all the time. Like think about how many casinos out there shuffle. How many shuffles do you think are happening right now?
Yeah.
Like thousands, tens of thousands, 100,000 shuffles?
Easy. Yeah.
And they're never the same.
And people don't think about it.
I don't know. I think I'm right about that. I could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what my brother was explaining. I'll have to ask him to confirm.
Yeah.
But it might be another thing where I'm just talking out my butt and I don't know anything.
No, the statistics and all that stuff are just... Yeah,
it's wild. It's wild. Yeah. But that's amazing. That's incredible. Yeah. I mean, wow, 1 billion North Americas. That's crazy. Yeah, dude, I'd love to.
Like think about it, to the moon.
To the moon.
And a dime
if it was
small.
one stack to the moon, that's a lot. And you'd never find that.
Yeah.
1 billion?
Yeah, it's and
it's wide. The U.S. is pretty
wide. You can't
wide.
comprehend that. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Can't.
Thanks, Justin.
You
got to get on the mailing list.
I got to get on the mailing list.
That's part 1, so there's other parts about why we're so special.
I know,
I'm
dude.
excited to see the other ones.
That's going to make me think.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit in bed. Dude, that's a great exercise in being thankful, though. You're like, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I have problems. There's things that aren't great in my life, but man, I picked that red dime out, bro.
Yeah. He did confirm he wants to be on the next morality podcast that we have. So
how do you feel about that kind of question?
He liked it.
Good question, right?
He wants in.
I would love to hear his response.
This is he's on the ropes. And he's like holding his hand out, get a little tag.
I never know. Sometimes I think man, what a dumb thought, John. Like that's obviously.
No, that's worth.
I felt like that one was okay. I don't think there's a clear answer with that because it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because animals can't really help what they do. It's instinctual, right?
And this is from what we were talking about last week.
Yeah. So essentially, last week was questioning is animal behavior moral? Tyler was saying no, but my thought is if it's automatic, right? I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I would love to hear what he thinks about
my thesis was morality is a human construct
Right.
that is manufactured.
Yeah. My kind of thought on morality, if I had to sum it up, is it's something we discuss, it's inherent in us.
Sure.
Something we found.
Specifically people.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But look, I think animals have souls, though. It's not like they're soulless, in my opinion.
That's where we differ.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just love dogs, man. They're so happy.
Absolutely, man.
They're the happiest things. Yeah. They make me so happy. I don't know. Yeah, I'd love to have a discussion with Justin.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this. Ready for this? This is a way more depressing thought, but
great.
I was like, when you tell me that our most popular episodes are when we have guests on?
Yeah.
I was like, man, what if that's because nobody likes listening to me? So it's just the guest that everyone likes listening to. So it's a hint that's Tyler should just get another host. That's one of those thoughts.
That could go both ways.
You have when you're sitting in bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to dial that back.
Why?
I don't know.
That's a healthy.
You're a great.
It's
it's healthy.
Yes.
To just think that
it's.
It's a little narcissistic. It's all about you. Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's all about you.
No.
Why do you have to be the one that everyone hates? Why can't it be me?
What are you talking?
I don't know.
You know what narcissism means?
Yeah. You're full of yourself. Everything's about you. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I never thought of it that
it's
way.
It's a negative narcissist.
Yeah. I never.
Like a negative
I never,
Nelly, but this is a negative.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way. You kind of blew my mind right there and kind of made me feel worse.
Sorry. I don't mean to make you.
It's not only are you the worst host, you also don't even consider me.
Yeah.
No, I think it's good to think. It's probably not good to think that way, but for me, I think you have to check yourself.
Yeah.
Now, there's definitely you can go overboard where you just destroy yourself and you're not good enough and everyone hates you.
Uh-huh.
And maybe I misspoke and I made you think, but it was more like a fleeting thought where it's ooh, what if that's the case? But then I'm it's probably not the case. Yeah. But it's in the back of your mind. But it makes you be better. It's okay, well, I'm going to prove everyone wrong.
I like to take
That's
it
how I
as
look at it.
I think people always. It's good to have differing opinions on other people's things because we not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but we'll rehash, right? We'll talk about things that you and I are doing. So bringing in fresh blood to mix it up.
I mean, we have great guests. Jeff has an electric personality.
Yes.
Justin is an incredibly insightful and thoughtful person.
Yeah.
And intelligent. You know what I mean? Mike and John, some of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
Because we're degenerates.
When it comes to sports and gambling, yeah.
But we always start out with that.
John wants to come next week.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm excited.
We can't do it here. We're gonna have to probably go upstairs or figure something out. But
okay, we'll figure it out.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry, not to bring the mood down. Excuse me. That's what I was thinking about the other day.
So the thing with the guests too is a segue. I met with my brother-in-law yesterday. I think yesterday.
Yeah.
Sat down here, plotted out the studio space on talking through the bookcases, how big everything was, exactly what we want to do. So we'll have a table here. We'll have just kind of everything working out. But he's gonna build like a test piece just to see. It's like, okay, like we're gonna look at stain, color, all that stuff. Put up against the wall, make sure it looks good. He wants to make sure that we think his craftsmanship is to par.
Dude, he's the best.
Yeah.
The fact that he's even so willing to do this for us is super awesome. Yeah. So huge shout out.
Yep.
He's great. He like made that shelf for your baby shower. He's telling me. Yeah. Yep. He's like, I made that crappy shelf for those. Like, dude, you made a shelf. Like, I can't do that.
It's sturdy, and I'm more than happy to put that in the baby's room.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's awesome, dude. He seems super willing to just always help out.
He was showing me all the different. He's like, okay, we'll hide this here. This will look all seamless. This will be this. So it's like perfect.
And that's right
done.
up your alley.
Well, my thing is I'm like, as long as it's sturdy and will like stand the test of time.
Yeah,
like, that's what I want. It's just like this. It's going to go through some stuff. Like people are going to be putting coasters down on it and whatnot, but like things are going to get spilled on, and people are going to be like leaning on it and everything. Like it needs to just be like tough and productive, and just hit everything that we need. So yeah, it'll be like almost like a 7 foot out space. Yeah, where like, it'll be able to hold 5 people comfortably.
Like a table.
It'll be set.
Kinda.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be just a
that's exciting
butcher block. Yeah,
it's exciting.
Yeah. What else we got?
So I've been playing Persona.
Yeah.
I'm not done with it yet. It's a very long game. But I did want to talk about this. Okay, so I don't know if anyone else has ever had this issue. Mm-hmm. Persona, one of the key elements of the game is there's a a romantic aspect to it, right?
Yeah.
You have a lot of girls and guys. Actually, in Persona 3, the original one, you could play as the protagonist was either a girl or a guy. In this one, you have to be a guy, which is interesting to me.
Huh. Yeah. Is that just because all the new dialogue and everything? They just didn't have the budget
they just couldn't. Because you got to think about it. If you're a girl, you can only romance the guys.
Uh-huh.
And so that's a whole new dialogue.
So it's actually forced as a guy and you can only romance girls?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird in today's day and
age.
The
game came out in 2009.
Yeah, but even back in the day, like if you could pick and choose between the two.
Yeah. I don't know. Persona's always been that way. Even 5 was like that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, so essentially, like, I'm doing my social links with everyone or whatever. Now, here's the dilemma that I'm in, right? There's this one character I really like, and I vibe with her. But she's like a side character. She's not part of the main party. She's just someone you meet, like, at school or whatever.
Yeah, she's the navigator on your Mass Effect Normandy ship.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Great.
Sure. I'm with you.
Yeah. So, it's like, man, I really like her, and she's great. But it's like, and every game that has romance options always has this. There's the clear developer's choice.
Yes.
And they flesh out it so well, and you get these extra moments. There's like a giant arrow. It's like, here's the one.
Yeah.
So it's like, now I'm thinking about, it's not like I dislike her, but I'm just sitting there like, okay, well, my experience might be better with this person in which the developers clearly put the most time and thought and attention to.
Right.
But I really like the other person.
Yeah.
So now I'm a big dilemma here about where to go.
Gotta follow your heart, man.
I guess, but it just, I don't know. Because, like, I know that the quality of the person that they want me to choose is going to be that much better.
My only counter to that is you're playing through the game, right? And the developers have a clear choice. They're putting all this time and effort between for the clear choice.
Absolutely.
But you're drawn to someone else. That transcends all the time and effort of the developer. That's true love, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not too late. I'm like, we're still filling things out.
We're going to be playing Final Fantasy here next week. Like, we're going to start
but
that.
But the choice is clear in that game.
No, it's not.
For me, it is.
Jesse died. Spoilers.
That's big spoilers, but it wasn't Jesse for me. Although Jesse was a huge shock.
That was me.
Jessie was great.
That was
she
like
was great.
She was awesome.
So flirty.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna get into it here. Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to romance
That's the
and video,
topic, right? It's just romance and video games.
dude, I love romance and video games. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
So
like an only fan.
no.
Okay.
So there's two schools of thought here. There's one where you insert yourself as the main character.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a Persona game. The main character doesn't have a name. Like you name it, that person, and then you're kind of putting yourself like a Skyrim, right?
Right.
Like you are injecting yourself into the game. So when you're doing a romance option like that in that kind of game, it's like who do I like, right? Who am I vibing with? Especially when it's like a silent protagonist, like perfect. But then you have a game like Final Fantasy where it's an established character. Mm-hmm. So in those types of games, my thought process is who's the best for this character, not necessarily me. So while I myself would probably go with Jessie because she's throwing herself at me and I don't have good resistance against that.
Sure.
People, quick way to my heart, gas me up. That's it.
Yeah.
All you have to do.
Sure.
And I'm done. Cloud, clearly Tifa is the option for Cloud, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, I know the internet would disagree because it's about 50-50 with Aerith. But
do you think with the new games it's going to be 50-50 with Aerith?
It can't be.
I don't think so.
I don't even think with the old games, because if you think about Crisis Core, which is the whole game with Zack and his, you know the gist of that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
dude, we drove 45 minutes to Kyle's to watch that movie.
Know. You're a great friend. Once you understand the backstory of Zack, like it's clear, like, oh, like it's Aerith and Zack.
Sure.
And that would mean it's Cloud and Tifa.
Aerith has an annoying voice.
What?
Yeah.
I love her
I know.
voice.
Yeah. I know you do.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
I didn't like that.
I know.
I didn't like that. I put a damper in things a little bit.
Sorry.
Wow. What about it?
I don't know.
She's great. She has her own like channel. She actually she's a gamer. It's awesome.
Sure.
She's
I'm
so
sure
awesome.
she's a wonderful person.
No,
she's
so great.
I was just listening to the trailer and I'm just like, this is just going back to that anime.
What got me was the singing when they did that in one of the trailers.
Yeah.
And just the fact that it's another, I know you were joking about it when it was live. And it's like, that's not Aerith. That does bug me. The best is
just,
when
even when she's singing
the actual voice actress does the singing as well, which is very rare. That's the best. Because for me, I'm just like, I don't know. It just takes me so out. I'm like, this is clearly a different person.
Yeah.
I would rather like her sing, the person who voices her, and it be lower quality than getting an amazing singer and it being a different person. That would be my preference.
Sure. I think for that would make sense. You're like this flower girl that happens to have a decent voice.
Like she's just singing.
Sure.
And I don't know the circumstances. Like maybe she just doesn't feel comfortable, or she feels that she's not good at all, or it was their direction they wanted to go in. I don't know. But
you can't get away with that from like a Yuna from like Final Fantasy X, right? Like where you need to, like, you're a summoner and you're supposed to be this like elaborate.
Yeah, she was consistent, right?
I don't know. I
thought so.
I don't think so, because I remember 10-2. I really like the intro music for 10-2. I know we're getting kind of off subject here, but it was like Yuna does not sound like she sounds.
I never
good.
played 10-2.
Yeah.
I would love a Final Fantasy X remake.
I think that is such a pipe dream at this point, where you're going to wait
it's
another
be the second,
4 or 5 years.
That's going to be the second most popular one.
People really want 6. Like, really want 6. And
the 4 most popular is 6, 7, 9, 10, I think.
You think 9 over 8?
Absolutely.
Really?
I'd stake my life on it.
Oh, buddy. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's some diehard 9 fans, because 9 goes back to like the traditional style.
Yeah.
And if you watch that 6-hour video I sent you, you would have known the complex history with that.
Sure, but I would love to know like the general, like who's in 9.
Zidane is the main character. He's the guy with the tail.
Okay,
and
sure.
Vivi is one of the most popular characters, the Black Mage.
Yeah, but isn't she in okay.
You know, the little dude with the hat and
I know. Yeah. I know. Okay.
And then you have
That's 9, it's not 8?
That's 9.
Okay.
8 is like Squall and
yeah, that's with the gun blades.
Yeah, and it's like with the card system.
Okay.
I personally think 8's not as bad as people say, but I think 9's better.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, romance video games, tough life.
Yeah, it's always a chore. Like, I think that they're good if done well. Like, I think Final Fantasy did it very well. But even
you're talking 7 remake?
7 remake, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, I think that was good.
Yeah.
But knowing it's like, okay, well, like, you're going to have to really focus on the person. Like, oh, okay, you want to bring Tifa to the golden saucer, so you're going to have to, like, make sure you're doing every single thing and always talking to her and, like, be overly into her.
Simp.
Yeah, it's like, it's not as organic. Like, you're doing it because of a game mechanic type of thing.
Right.
That's when I start to, and like Mass Effect honestly did the exact same thing where like you have to follow a certain path to get like Jack, or you have to do this to hit certain things. It doesn't develop organically.
Right.
And somehow like Hades comes to mind. So when you said that this was one of the topics you wanted to talk about, Hades was actually up there for me, where it was like, oh, like you're giving gifts to people, but it's like you're giving them to everybody. Yeah. It's not just like your romantic part of it, more or less. And then eventually just things naturally develop and you get these dialogue conversations and you actually feel kind of good about it and stuff. Like, it's still gamified, but it felt more natural. It felt more natural to me. I don't know why.
I like the worst mechanic when it comes to that is the gift giving thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I gave you a box of chocolates and now you love me.
I gave you the seashell.
So weird, man.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. I think you're totally right. I mean, it's a hard thing to... Relationships are very complex, and simplifying it into a game is not easy.
Yeah.
That's why if we ever make a game, all of the effort's going into that.
That would be interesting to try to solve for.
Yeah, I think so too. Like because it's like it's more complex than like take Mass Effect for example. Like there's clearly like you go straight Paragon options, you're like generally good with them, right? Or whatever. And it's just like very simplified. But I would love to just have a really complex we study the psychology of it and really kind of break down the different types of people. And maybe like it's like a love language kind of thing too, where it's like certain options have a percentage of what category they fall into. I think
that's a great way of doing it. Where it's like if you're talking somebody up, gassing them up, like, then they certain people will respond.
Yes, positively to that, right? And then it could be like a element, like a Pokemon element thing, where like there's opposing love languages where if you're trying to talk someone up and they're actually like a different one.
For like you, like if they're talking you up and you're into it, and then if they're doing that to me, like my natural inclination would be like, "Oh, you're patronizing me."
Yeah, right.
That
exactly.
turns me
and
off.
it could actually have the opposite effect, right?
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
No, I think there's something there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like, but that's the problem a lot of games have. Like when you have dialogue options in particular, it's hard not to fall into that Mass Effect. Like, here's the good option, here's the bad option, here's the neutral. Right?
Well, it also is like, this turns into a budget and scope and all that stuff. And I understand that if you're not doing like a dating sim, it's not going to work into a game naturally. But part of that is like, you have this set interaction, right? So like if you hit all the different dialogues, like you're going to get this thing. But like that's not relationships. I think the thing with relationships there is a give and take. There are these compromises where like, your partner might really be into crystals and that's not you, but you're willing to overlook that and accept them for who they are, right? And certain people are more prone to accepting what you could consider flaws of others, and other people are like, no, I have this very distinct picture of who my partner should be, and I want to hold to that. And I think the games it's never an important enough factor to explore all of that. And I think that'd be a really cool thing to try anyway. Like, I think the other thing is like most people probably don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole because relationships and feelings and love and everything are just so complex that you get it wrong, or if it doesn't resonate with somebody, like, man, that's it's like worse.
Yeah. It's one of the most complex pieces of being a human, right? So I think you're set up for failure, but I think it's possible. I think there's a way to do it. I think there's a way to do it better. But I think you're right. It's not the priority. You know what I would always like? So you always see in media, like TVs, movies, games, whatever, it's always the initial establishing of the relationship. And it's obvious, right? Like any Hallmark movie, it's about them getting together because that's the most exciting part. Mm-hmm. I would love to see a great example of an established relationship where they've been married for like 15 years. And it's like that complex, the complexities that go with that and the ups and downs. That's always fascinating to me. And it seems like people have really hard time writing that kind of relationship. I don't see a lot of examples.
Yeah, because it's one or the other, right? Like if you have people that are already together in a Hallmark type movie, either A, it's this couple that have been married forever and they're like the ones that got it right and they know everything and they're just like, oh, you just gotta give them a chance, single best friend or whatever.
Yep.
Or it is one of them are they're on the cusp of breaking up because they can't handle anything, and then by the end of the movie they're getting a divorce or whatever.
Right.
Well, no, like because they're not the main characters.
Oh,
right?
I see what you're saying. Okay.
So it's like you're seeing all the bad stuff happen here. They're breaking up while the other people are not.
Right.
It's like a Love Actually scenario where you have like the different types of relationships throughout, and you have the guy buying his secretary a necklace or bracelet or whatever, and like you see the fallout there and how she, So,
well, I was actually
it's just simplified. That's the problem is they simplify everything for a very
you got to think you got to fit it within a 2-hour
100%
window, right?
Yeah.
Now I think video games have a better luxury where it's like speaking of Mass Effect, I actually think they did a pretty good job in 3 because you got to think like by that point you generally have an established relationship with someone when you're like talking romance, but even anything, right? Like you talk about your friendship with Garrus, for example. Mm-hmm. Like by the time you're in 3, it's like these callbacks, these awesome moments. You guys are like best buds, shooting the beer bottles at the top of the Citadel. It's like the best scene in the world.
Right.
I actually like that. I think they did a good job with that. But I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough. It's a tough thing. I don't know. But we'll see. I might go with my heart. There's still time. I'm just saying who I'm vibing with right now. She's great.
I think you should go with she's off the beaten path.
She's so great. She's just super chill.
Yeah.
Energetic.
But
nice.
if you're using a guide though, like doesn't that
I don't use a guide for the conversations.
Yeah, but if you're trying to get all the content you can,
right,
then you're probably doing a disservice to yourself going with the other like mainline romance.
I don't know. I gotta figure it out.
I mean, that's why I originally went with like Ashley, like in the first playthrough, right? Yeah. Before we knew what interstellar racism was.
Right.
But it was just like, okay, I'm always going to be good. She's the first person that I was on a mission with or whatever. You are now my future wife.
Wifey.
Yeah. Which, it evolves over time. But
I think I did the same thing. I mean, I was like 12, dude.
Sure.
Or 13 or whatever.
Yeah. Everyone was a little racist back then.
I wouldn't say that. I would say I was horny.
Okay.
Was a more
you just couldn't picture it in the blue alien.
I don't know what it was with her. I don't know. I just didn't. Everyone loves her too. Liara's like everyone's favorite.
I can't stand her. Yeah.
I don't dislike her, but romantically, I was
actually dislike her.
It's very interesting. I think they do her character really well, and the fact that Asari's, which is one of the most fascinating parts, they live so long, so they have these different phases of their life. Like they can have completely different personalities as they just become more wise and things. Like I know that there's this one really cool scene or maybe piece of dialogue with Samara, the Justicar, and she's like very old, right? She's I don't know how old, but like I would say hundreds, right, of years old, and she was talking about like, oh yeah, like when I was young, I was like, I think she said something to the effect like, oh, I was like a dancer or something. And she's talking about these different phases of her life. And I think they capture that pretty well. I'm always fascinated by that. Like Asari, like elves.
Yeah.
What would it be like to live that long? And you would probably see your personality change like drastically throughout that. So I think they're trying to capture that effect with Liara. Like, in the first game, she's really shy. She's a nerd, whatever. and then she like you see her transform, become like the shadow broker.
Yeah.
The problem is it's in such a short span of time. Like I see what they're going for. It's like pretty wild though, the transformation in that short period of time.
Especially if you're trying to build up this like relationship, but like I don't know, it's a little different. Yeah.
She changes 180. Like if in the first game you really vibe with her, like this shy, uber intelligent person.
Yeah.
By the third game, she's just like shady, mysterious, like, shady, confident, up front, obtuse. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's very different, very different. Whereas Miranda is just hot constantly, right? And I feel like they do that great.
Sure. They do a really good.
I will go to war. I think she's a great character, and I will go to war with anyone.
I agree with that.
Really?
Yeah.
Usually everyone's like, "Oh, Miranda's terrible."
No, I like her a lot.
Terrible character development. I think it's great.
Well, I would have to defer to a woman probably before, but as far as
but
what a
think
guy
about
is
it.
looking for in a video game,
genetically created to be perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
And she struggles with it, which is
the pressure that's on her to do that, and I like that arc because I find myself, with really successful parents and an older brother who did that. I find myself liking that archetype because I have felt that in my life.
Yeah. That you're just perfect.
No, that I have this established pressure.
Yeah.
To do that.
Right.
I'm just like a predestined.
I get it.
I know, but don't make a mockery of my. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah. So I don't know. What were we talking about?
Relationships in video games.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's next?
So I have D&D yesterday.
Okay.
And I thought it'd be fun to kind of talk through because we had a great conversation last week.
It was funny because you literally said like real quick, I just want to talk about something, and then we talked for an hour about D&D.
I have a problem.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
With that.
Do you have a set time limit you want to try
maybe.
to go for, or do you want to?
I was gonna grab another drink though. Did you want another drink?
Yeah, I can get a drink for you.
You get a drink for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you just want to,
no, I'll set up. I'll do a little setup.
You're good just monologuing while I go grab drinks?
I think I could do, I've thought about this. You know how like it's really impressive that people do these radio shows just by themselves or whatever? I think I could do one.
Oh, without a doubt.
I think I could just
We've
monologue.
had 131.
I talk. Like my buddy was talking about, you should probably go do this while I set this up.
Okay, but you realize, like, this is the only downside is I'm going upstairs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to hear any of this. So
I know.
either you're going to have to repeat yourself
or just
so I'll do it
whatever
you're saying.
I was talking to my buddy.
Okay.
And he was like, we were going to the car show. So
Yeah.
there was a car show in Pittsburgh Monday.
Gas, electric? What are we talking?
There was a lot of electric cars there. So it was at the or what would you call that? The event center downtown. Okay. And it's like the annual car show. So they, the new cars that are coming out, you can go, you sit in them. It's kind of cool. Yeah, a lot of electric cars. But I was going with my buddy, and he was calling his girlfriend because she works downtown. She was going to meet us for lunch. So he called her, and she was like, they're talking back and forth, and then she kind of just went silent for a little bit because she was like working. And then when they hung up, he's like, she does that all the time. She just goes silent. And then when I like say, okay, I'll see you later, she's like, well, you don't want to talk to me? It's like, dude, you're not contributing anything to the conversation.
Sure.
And he's like, I find that really tough. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I'd have that problem because I never run out of things to say.
You just keep going.
I keep going. Yeah. It's really, I'm the Energizer Bunny of speaking.
That's why we started a podcast, for better or worse. Yeah. I think it's only exasperated that let's call it a problem talent.
Yeah, the toughest part is when you have something to say and I have to stop talking.
And vice versa.
And I got to remember that. I love listening to you talk.
Likewise.
Yeah. We feed off each other. All right.
Do you just want me to pause it? We can.
No, I'm good. Right. I can.
All right, talk about D&D.
I'm going to set it up.
If I'm up there for like 10, 15 minutes, not a big deal.
That would be tough, but I could do it.
All right, we'll be right back.
All right. So, I'm going to set this up. Last week, check out our last episode where, yes, Tyler's correct. I might have said I wanted to quickly talk about something that led into an hour conversation about D&D, so apologies about that. But I, was telling about this other game that I play in, because Tyler and I play in this game. but there's a separate game I play with my other friends, and it was such a great discussion that I was like, man, I really want to talk about what my plans are for the next session that I'm going to do, which by the time you're listening to this would have been yesterday. So hopefully it went well, and hopefully Tyler has a lot of great input for me. But one of the toughest things that a DM struggles with is that you, at least for me, because a lot of the time I like bouncing ideas off of someone. And I think Tyler's very similar in this aspect. But as a DM, you can't talk to your players about it because obviously you're going to spoil the plot and things like that. So my thought was, I'll talk to my good friend Tyler, who's completely removed. That was really quick, by the way.
I was trying to go quick.
Completely removed from the situation about what I'm planning and see what his input is.
Hit me.
Okay. Quick setup. So, the book we're doing, they're in the Underdark, okay?
Yes.
Which has been a lot of fun because I don't know about you, but we never play in the Underdark.
But after Baldur's Gate, now you can visualize and understand everything.
I love it, yeah.
Sure.
It's not that I couldn't visualize it before. I mean, Baldur's Gate helped immensely, and I say that all the time. But it's just like, I don't know. You know how like people have a bad habit of just doing goblins and bandits and like regurgitating kind of the same things that you're familiar with. And it's like, that's one of those aspects of it. Like you're always in the forest, you're always on the coast. Mm-hmm. You never go to the Underdark for some reason. So this book is all about the Underdark, which I love because it forces you to be in that environment. And it's just totally foreign to like everyone who's playing. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. So premise of the book is all the characters are in jail. They're in a drow prison and they have to escape, obviously. And then the whole objective is to escape the Underdark. But there's this cataclysmic event that happens. So halfway through the book, you escape. And then you're like, holy shit, this thing's happening. We got to go save the world. So you go back in.
Okay.
That's the short version of it. Essentially, and what the cataclysmic event is. Okay, I should preface this. If anyone who plays in my game is listening, you have to skip this part because I'm about to ruin the whole story.
We'll have timestamps.
Or if you ever want to run the Out of the Abyss adventure, skip this part. So anyone who's curious in that, because I'm about to spoil the whole plot. Anyways, I haven't spoiled anything yet. That's pretty a known quantity what I've said so far. So anyways, spoilers aside, with the cataclysmic event, so essentially what's happening is the drow are summoning these demon lords into the abyss. So the drow worship this goddess, Lolth, who's the queen of the drow and spiders for some reason. Those are her domains. Okay. And demons are in this specific, what's it called? Not universe, but plane of existence. Okay. Yeah. So they're in this specific plane of existence called the Abyss. And there's all these levels to the Abyss. And there's a ruler that kind of oversees each level. Now, demons are completely chaotic, so it's not like they really have any organization over things, but they're like the big boss of their area. So Lolth, for example, has one layer of the Abyss out of, nobody knows how many layers there are, but it's...
You got to keep it open so there can always be the next big bad guy, yeah.
It's theorized there's 666, but nobody knows for sure. Anyways, she rolls one layer. So she's devising this plan because it's all about having more power. She wants to summon the demon lords that are adjacent to her lair to the material plane, which is like Earth, so that she can take over those layers. You know, they're gone. In their absence, she'll take over. So that's pretty much what's happening. The drow, since they worship her, are organizing these summonings to summon these big demon lords into the Underdark, which is the Underdark, for anyone who doesn't know, is just another kind of civilization underneath the Earth. And that's where like the dark elves live and the dark gnomes and the dark everyone, dwarves and everything.
Mushrooms everywhere.
Yes. So what happens is you escape prison. You essentially see this summoning that happens, and there's a demon lord. You run away from that, and then you try to get out of the Underdark. Then, depending on what happens, you're supposed to go to the dwarven capital and be like, hey, there's this shit going on. And then you like
And the dwarves love the elves so much that they'll be willing to just jump at the chance to help them, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you organize this army and you march back into the Underdark, and you got to defeat the. Technically, you got to get them back to the abyss. Okay, so that's like the main story. So in the game right now, they escaped prison and they're kind of just running away from the drow that are chasing them, the guards or whatever. And they're at this point where I think I was telling you last week they were in this fight with some drow, and then they were escaping this purple worm where it was a really cool sequence where they were doing all these skill checks. So now we're at the point, this is the big session, because this is where they're going to discover what the plot is.
I'm sorry, this is tonight that you're doing this?
Sunday.
Yeah. Okay.
I can do that. We're going to be done with this at like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, well, you said, hey, we start earlier, so I didn't know if that was like you had
No, Sunday.
Stuff.
So essentially, this is the big session that's coming up where they're going to find out what's going on, right? Now, I guess what was curious about you is like I am kind of struggling with, and this is something DMs struggle with all the time, I think. I try to have everyone, there's the overarching story, but there's everyone's personal growth in their character or like whatever they're trying to accomplish. And like some characters are so much easier than others, right? Mm-hmm. Like you have one player who's a warlock and there's this relationship that's going on with his patron. And there's the whole aspect to that. And
that's the genie.
Yeah, the genie. And it's like so easy to do because like there's that whole thing there. And my thought with that is the genie, the type of genie that he picked was actually really interesting because essentially back in like the beginning of the world, gods were fighting demons because demons kind of were created out of nothingness or like energy in the universe and the cosmos or something. Negative energy. I don't know. Some bullshit like that. And then the gods are like, we don't really want to fight them. So they like made angels, and then the angels fought them, but being around the demons so much, they got corrupted, and that's where you get devils from. And then part of that is this type of genie was also hired, I guess, to fight demons. So it ties in really nicely to the book. So he's able to give some exposition to the character piece by piece because he's got knowledge in that area. So that's easy. The other one of the other players is a drow ranger, and he's kind of the main character more or less. He's essentially, with him, my thought is he had like his bloodline comes from Lolth herself, and he is going to be the catalyst for the ritual. So when they get him, they're gonna. My idea for this is they're going to cut off his hand. You remember in Harry Potter when they cut off his hand and that completes the ritual?
What?
Yeah, that's part of the books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Wormtail. They cut off his hand and that is part of summoning Voldemort back.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways, they're going to cut off his hand, and that's going to be like the last piece of the puzzle to summon the demon because he has that blood in him or whatever. And then he's going to get this shadow hand. And it's going to function similarly to like Shadow of War, where he can corrupt weak-minded creatures and stuff to his will, and it's going to power up over time. And like I'm going to create like a leveling system for that. So those two are easy. Yeah. The problem is the other two, where it's like you have an orc who this one's easier too because he gave me some backstory. So his brother was the chief of his tribe. And he kind of usurped power, killed his mom or whatever.
The brother did.
The brother did. Okay. His brother. And then he kicked him out because he hated him and was afraid that he was going to try to overthrow him. So that's how he got into prison, because I wanted everyone's backstory to incorporate like how they got to prison. So his brother captured him, sold him to the drow, and that's why he's in prison. Yeah. So it's kind of basic, but I can do stuff with that. Like I've had some other orcs down there that were like, hey man, you're the rightful chief, and there's like a civil war going on, and then he sold us too, so that's why we're down here. So now there's like he's trying to save some of his brethren, and there's that component to it. And I think once they get back up top too, what I'm thinking is there's a component of that where it's like, hey, let's go take back my tribe, and then if you guys help me do, I'm hoping he'll say this, if you guys help me do that, we'll fight. We'll go into the Underdark and fight, and we'll have a force to bring down there.
I got you.
As you know,
That's
pay
smart.
back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
Now, the last person I'm having really trouble with, he's a cleric. He's playing a girl, so she's a cleric, and all I got is that she's worships Seluna, which is the moon goddess, and he just got captured by the drow, and that's it. So I'm having a lot of trouble figuring out what to do with him.
I mean, for a cleric though, like I feel like fighting demons is just the standard.
It is,
Yeah.
but what I'm afraid of is that, oh man, you have this really cool thing going on with the ranger. You got this warlock who's in communication with his patrons. Patrons giving him stuff. You have, the orc fighting for his tribe. It's like there's not that. I don't want it to be in balance that way, where it's like, oh well, everyone else got something special except for me, right? So it's tough because like a lot of the time you get what you put into it, right? Yes.
So like if you get like a limited backstory, now is this a person that is just new to it?
No, and the interesting thing about this, is that from what I heard, generally he has very complex backstories, and for whatever reason in this game he just went simple. Now it could be the fact that I was like, I said something to the effect of like, I don't really love very long novel-esque backstories because you got to consider that you're level 1, and a lot of the backstory should be the game itself, right? Now, suffice to say, you can go in the other direction where if you give me nothing, it's tough.
Yeah.
But I think I have a good idea, and I would love your thoughts on this.
Okay.
I was reading up on Seluna. She's the goddess of the moon or whatever. But previously, she was also, like in the D&D wiki, it kind of breaks down. It does a really great job breaking down like what their domain is and what they're all about. So she actually... Some of her most prominent worshipers are lycanthropes, the good lycanthropes. So a lycanthrope is like a werewolf.
Yeah.
Now werewolves are generally bad, but the good ones are like werebears and like were-tigers and stuff.
Sure.
So
Naturally.
I'm going to start next session with him transforming into a tiger. And the party's going to fight him, and he's going to figure out like, oh, I'm actually a were-tiger. And then that's going to add a new element.
You should figure out a way.
So what I'm thinking is,
so tough.
I text him.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, hey, at the beginning of next session, you're going to turn into a tiger. And I send him the picture of the were-tiger stat block. And then when we start the session, because they ended last session going to bed, I'm going to be like, you guys wake up and there's a tiger in your room. And it's going to be a brawl because he's not going to have control. I think like his arc is going to be coming to terms with this and trying to control it. And it'll be a cool moment where like eventually he'll be able to do it at will and he can transform and stuff and I'll incorporate that into his character.
I think that's super cool. I would have him roll.
Yes.
Only if though that like you want them to know they're fighting him. Because it's tough. Because like, it would be really cool. Like if they'd be fighting and they didn't know. Right.
Yeah.
Like that would be kind of like a cool like aha moment type of thing. And I think that it might not be as interactive for him, but I think that it would be like, oh, this is a cool thing for my character, and like he could kind of like watch that. So like even if it's just like so and so is nowhere to be seen or whatever, there's like I don't know,
how about this?
Something.
Ready for this? Okay, so a little bit of setup here. So they have one NPC with them who is a dwarf.
Yeah.
This book is really challenging to run as a DM because there are a million NPCs. So for example, when you start out in the prison, they give you like 12 NPCs,
That's
which
what you're
are the
saying,
other prisoners.
where it's like you're just killing people off. And
I was like, I can't do this. So. And they all have like multiple paragraphs about what they're all about. So it's like, okay, bullet points, and then I'm going to kill most of them off, right? Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of them escaped that I left open-ended that like later on in the line I can inject them in. They'll be like, oh, I remember this guy. So the one person who is with them is this dwarven lady who the thing with her that I kind of set up is that she's the Dwarven King's daughter. And she set out, they were hearing rumblings of this secret plot going down in the Underdark because they're not too far away from that.
Right.
And she, against her father's wishes, brought a regiment down to the Underdark to investigate. and they got wiped out and she got captured. And that's how she ended up in prison. And so it's this interesting situation where nobody knows except one of the characters that she's the Dwarven King's daughter, the princess, I guess. So, and that's a tie into like why they're going to go to the Dwarven capital when they go back up. She's like, we got to go here. They can help us out. Anyways, so she's the only one with them. It could be a situation in which, and it kind of works out too because the cleric has been healing her in battle and has saved her multiple times. So she's kind of establishing this relationship with like, hey, you know, you've really saved me. And that's why she told her the secret that, you know, I'm actually, you know, this is who I am. So maybe it's a situation where like they go out during the night. It's like, hey, we're going to go keep watch or something. And the rest of the characters are going to wake up to the tiger and they're gonna be fighting it, right? And they might, like, let's say the dwarf got knocked out, like he turned into a tiger, she wasn't expecting it, she gets knocked out, and that's how it happens. So they're like, because if it was just her leaving, it's like, oh, it's clearly her. But since they're both gone,
how important is she?
To what?
So, like, I know she's the driver to the dwarven, whatever. Has she already said, like, hey, let's go there after this? Like, this will help. They'll help us.
This session's really important because I think right now the characters are like, okay, we just want to get out of here because none of us are from here. After they find out of the plot, that's when she's gonna be like, guys, we have to go. We gotta let my people know.
I would raise those stakes, and I would have it not. She's not knocked out. She's bleeding out, and I would have them like fight the tiger, do whatever you need to do to like for the tiger and stuff. But then, similar to the purple worm, figure out something where it's like, how do you get back to her, save her, do whatever? Like, even if it's like a blood curdling scream erupts or something, and that's what wakes them, and then a tiger like tears through or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
because she could still like, you could give her like a last breath of like, go to the capital or whatever, and it's like, okay, we got to bring the body there or something.
The problem is I got to keep her alive because that could be the thing. If she does die, she'll be like, hopefully maybe one of the other characters will be like, let's bring her body to the.
I would hope so. Like the cleric,
that
at
would be
least.
Her last. Yeah, that would be her last. Where it's like, please bring me to the capital for me to be buried.
Yeah, just something like, you know, like tell my dad, you know, like whatever, and then that's like kind of, it's like, it would suck if that was the case, but like,
then he'd be like, oh, they killed my daughter. Here's a blank check.
There's some things you can play with there.
My vision is for, you know, David's playing in this, big Lord of the Rings guy, is for that middle point when they meet up in the capital to be the Fellowship.
Sure.
Where they start calling people from all over, the big wigs.
That'd be super cool.
And it's like, you guys are the best of the best. And I envision this cool moment where everyone's just getting geared up with this special gear, and they're going to get their amazing weapons for the rest of the game and like just be so broken to go down there because I'm going to throw hard shit at them. Yeah. This book's great too. If you're ever doing anything in the Underbook, like this book is fantastic for just a guide to the Underdark. Like it has random encounters. It has everything you need in terms of like, hey, here's what's edible down here. Here's a list of fungi down here. These are poisonous. These explode. This illuminates things. Right. It's incredible. It also has in the back there's like 8 to 10 demon lords with their stat blocks. So if you ever wanted to do anything with them, you have those boss fights. So that's awesome. Yeah, it's a really cool book.
I'm a big fan of boss fights that like don't resolve. Like like games do it all the time, and it's just like they come here, they harass you, have to like hit them down to a certain point before they kind of either retreat or they like are just toying with you and then like leave or something like that.
Yeah, they're not going to kill these guys because they're very important to the overall universe. Sure, but the goal is to get them back to their realm. So, but yeah,
well, you really can't kill them anyway, right? Like if you kill them, though, they just like kind of respawn in hell anyway.
I don't know if that's the case actually. I think you can.
Avernus did something like that where it's like if you kill a demon or you kill, and I'm probably using the improper terminology, but it's like they basically just
respawn.
Yeah,
I think you might be right. Yeah.
I mean that's literally Diablo. Like you kill all the primevals, do whatever, and like they will always come back.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah,
but which gives you a sense of dread.
Yeah, they're always there.
Yeah,
But that's the thing. That's one of my favorite aspects of the lore is that there's this everlasting war going on between devils and demons.
Yeah.
And it's like all these great philosophers, whatever, in the world are like, dude, if this war ends, it's the end of the universe because they'll, whoever wins that war is going to take over everything.
See, I love that middle ground, right? Like I would love, like you have the demons, the heaven and all that stuff, and you're going back and forth and fighting and doing all that stuff. But like, I would love that third party to come in and just be like, you know what? I'm against all of it.
Yeah.
And I'm just I'm gonna tear it all down, stop the universe, whatever. Like this is just infinite bloodshed. Like
bad,
yeah. But it, like in some way where it like it's a point. That's always the best
I'm just gonna
villains.
Eliminate everything, remake it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Like
something.
not even like the best villains typically have to be like sacrificial in a way or alluding to it, where it's like it's not, oh, I want to destroy everything and then remake it in my image. It's just I want to destroy everything and reset it, and the universe will reset. And like wherever I fall in that and stuff like that. So like not only does that give you kind of a big bad that will, transcend the good and evil classic fight, but then if you so choose to, oh, he wasn't even the biggest bad, there's another one that's even worse than that leaves you open for it, or he gets corrupted in the meantime. So I don't know, but
a lot of options.
Yeah, there's I would love to explore something like that, but anyway, I digress.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
See, only me, you had great ideas. Like that's set.
Well, I'm curious what you think, and like
I think those are awesome.
What you would do in those types of situations. You know what I mean?
I think anything to spur the players to follow your story, which it sounds like you have it all connected and it all is kind of working out and stuff. I think that's awesome.
It's been pretty on track so far, which makes me nervous because this is such a pivotal session that if they decide to deviate now, it'd be really tough for me to do the mental gymnastics to make it make sense.
But you have a lot of links. Like I think that's the thing that you miss a lot of, not you, but just DMs in general, is like there needs to be so many different hooks and safety nets to keep people tethered to like what's important.
Yeah.
If you leave it too open, people will stray or people will come up with other important things that might not be a bad thing, but might not be like helping move the story forward,
right.
which is obviously an issue. So no, I think all of that is awesome.
I do, when you have a player that doesn't have a lot of backstory or inspiration on what their player is, I want to. My goal is to create agency.
Mm-hmm.
Let's throw a wrench in what they think their character is, and I think something like that, where it's like, oh, you're actually a were-tiger.
Yeah,
it's in your blood, and in reading that description of Selena, where it's like, oh, a lot of her worship are those types of people. It's like, oh, that makes sense. Maybe that's why she was drawn to that religion, to that goddess, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's just connecting a lot of the dots, and I'm kind of doing that for him a little bit, which is totally fine. And I just hope it plays well.
Yeah.
And I hope he kind of runs with that aspect of it. I have to make it challenging though. So it's like, how would you, like, obviously the first encounter is self-explanatory. Like he's just attacking the party as a random tiger, but like, how would you continue that struggle and show that progression of overcoming this, I don't want to say illness, but this like genetic mutation.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to like, what does he want out of it, right? Like, does he want to control it? Does he want to get rid of it? Like, there's a very real possibility that like, oh, I don't want to be a were-tiger.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it could be cool to an extent, but like, you have to let him kind of decide that for himself on like, does he want to be cured? Does he want to control it? Does he,
I think that's really interesting because let's say he wants to cure it. That creates a whole new quest.
100%.
Searching for a cure.
And he'll also be struggling, right? So like if it's like, I'm making this like full moon or whatever, and he has to like turn or something.
Yep.
Now he's rolling for like Constitution-esque type of stuff where it's like, oh, I'm feeling like claws start coming out of my hand or whatever, and he's like doing everything in his power to keep it at bay.
Yeah.
Or now the party isn't trusting him, or now they're going to start tying him up at night because he was like going crazy. That's why I think it's important that like you don't have to like kill her, but you need to show that it's like unbridled danger, uncontrolled, like he will attack.
Yeah.
So how does the party handle him and stuff? And you can't go too far because then they just keep him locked up the whole time.
Right.
And then he'll be upset about that. So yeah, it's a tightrope, but I don't know. I would give him the option. I wouldn't say like, oh, you really want to harness this power. He might. Like, I mean, you know your friends obviously more than I would. Like, if it was like a Nate doing it, like, sure, he's going to want to harness that and really crush stuff. But if it was like for me, like I would probably want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it just depends on how.
No, he's definitely a role playing type character. So I think I wouldn't necessarily say he wants to get rid of it, but he's not going to. Like, I would never give that to Nate, unfortunately, because like he would.
It's just powerful. Yeah.
But I mean, maybe I would, because that would be cool too. It's like, hey, I'm going to make it really difficult for you to overcome this and control it, but I'll reward you once you do. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't even give it to that type of player either, because I think it's a potentially great reward.
Sure.
Right. So yeah, I take that back. I don't think there's a problem with that. I don't have a problem with my characters being overpowered.
No, you can always adjust it. Like, that's not like you want to feel good. Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah, it's more that it's like if someone's so strong that they make the game not interesting. Mm-hmm. That's what I fear, right? Where it's like, oh, we're just gonna rely on this guy because he's unbeatable, mm-hmm. right? So, and maybe that's on me to just be more creative about how do I make it challenging. And it doesn't even have to be combat wise. Maybe it's something else.
Well, you said they haven't really been challenged combat yet. Like they've been
this last fight was pretty rough for them.
What did they fight last fight?
It was a bunch of drow. And it was that one big drow guy that I'm going to bring back.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So he's dead. He's been decapitated, but I'm going to pull 2 Shadow of War things, but he's going to be a reoccurring thing.
Yes, I mean, it really comes down to like, okay, now that they have a tiger, right? Like, could that tiger have, like, if you take that versus the drow, how powerful is that in comparison? Like, it either needs to be like so much more powerful, and then you have to like really make it this conquest, like maybe show them the power of it,
right?
But then you also have to be like, I don't know the were tigers or like their stat block, like if they're that much overpowered, but
they're
like
pretty strong. They're challenging 4.
So then they need like you're gonna have to that's gonna be tough too. But it's like you're basically gonna hopefully KO at least one of the party members, or like show that it's super dangerous. Because if they pacify him like fairly quickly, then it's like it's fine. But then you're not gonna be like, oh, this is a really cool thing that you want to pursue.
Yeah, I gotta create a balance. It's gonna be tough, but I'm gonna try to feel it out. But I don't know. I just want it to be fun. That's
well. I think you got to decide too. Do you want the players to know that they're fighting him?
I think it has to be that way.
Okay, well that's completely fine then, because then have him roll the dice. That keeps him.
I'm going to
give
him the stat block, and he's going to roll because it's either that or he's removed from the fight, which I don't want. That's never a good idea. I
love like these like kind of aha moments, and if you kind of confer with him up front on that stuff, I think that's really cool. Because if you say like you hear 2 screams, like they go off and they're standing watch or whatever, and then you hear 2 screams, that wakes the party up, and they hopefully would like go investigate.
Yeah.
But before they can get to where the cleric
that's what
and her is, the tiger attacks them,
and it could be either one.
It could, but then you would be rolling it, and as long as the cleric's okay, it'll be like, oh, that's a really cool reveal, like whatever. He'd be cool. Sitting
maybe I'll
out.
ask him about it.
I think that still keeps him like, hey, this is what I want to do. Are you good with that? Then you can still have that kind of
but they're gonna figure it out after the fight, right? So
100%,
no, that's a good idea.
But it would be important to say like both scream, so they don't know who it is.
Yeah, and then I'm rolling it and
running to that direction. And then you could have, the dwarven princess on her deathbed or whatever, and it's like, got to roll medicine checks. You got to really figure stuff out. Like, okay, what's around? What herbs or, whatever it is.
Roll me survival. Roll me a history. Yeah,
something.
Yep. No, I think it's good advice. Yeah, this is a critical session. This is where we need to, and this. I've been pretty detailed about what the events that have transpired. It's been pretty linear so far and on rails, just because they've been sticking to it. I'm always, I'm open to them doing whatever they want. I'm a firm believer in that, but I don't have concrete bullet points on this one because I don't know how they're going to get out of there. It's kind of open-ended on them.
Yeah.
I need them to, they're going to be in this, so they're going to this Krakatoa village, which is like a Murloc, essentially.
Okay.
On the water. And there's this thing called the Dark Lake, which is just this huge ocean equivalent in the middle of the Underdark. And that's a lot of how you get around. Yeah. So they're going there to get a ferry because the Krakatoa provide ferry services to people and pretty much taxis, whatever. So they're, one of the characters being a drow really helps because he's like, hey, we're going to go here. And I've told him this up front. And he just comes, he's
just knows
exactly.
Yeah,
so
that's smart.
And he's like, this is what we're going to do. And then there's, these specific exits and we'll get out of the Underdark. So they're going there, but the story goes that they're already corrupted by the demons, so that they're doing the summoning or whatever. So that's a big part of it. I need them to get to the lake though, to escape, because I need them to get to this other city. So I think it'll do that because I already told the one guy, it's like, okay, you're trying to get here regardless. And the plan doesn't change, but with the chaotic nature that's going to arise, I'm like, what if they run back? It's like, that's bad. I need them to get out. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. Sorry, that was long.
No, I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Yeah. Anyways, shall we move to the next topic?
Sure. What's the next topic?
I see a nice fancy monitor on your desk.
Oh, yeah.
Alienware brand.
Alienware.
Tell me about your experience with Alienware. Why they're the best.
Alienware is not bad.
Ooh.
I'm not sold on the curve. Like, you have a curved monitor. You like your curved monitor.
Yeah, I have a Samsung Odyssey.
Would you
G7?
say that's a less aggressive
more
curve?
Yeah. My curve is about as aggressive as you can get.
Yeah.
I forget what it's R something. I forget what it.
Yeah, it's like 1800 or something. Yeah, something crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Wildly.
Yeah, where if you put four in together, it like basically makes a circle.
Circle, yeah.
It's good. The OLED panel on it is very good. The color accuracy is. I'm actually more excited designing stuff on it than anything else because the color accuracy is really good. 240 hertz, but I've been playing Tekken, so I don't notice that.
Down to 60?
Yeah. So
down to 59.
59, yeah. So it really doesn't shine just yet. I got to play some Helldivers on it and see if that kind of does anything. 4K OLED, if I mentioned that already. So,
in my experience, the best games that I've really noticed my 240 hertz is shooters. Yeah. Like when we were playing Halo and I was able to get up there, because I was telling you that like one of the things I regret about buying this one is that my resolution's lower because of the high refresh rate, but there's very few games where I can really get it up to that amount. Yeah. So it was like, man, I'd rather just have 120 4K OLED, Yeah. But well, you just got both. You got your cake and eating it too.
Well, that's the thing is like they didn't have that whenever you were getting your monitor.
I know,
that was like a
it's
pipe
very
dream,
new.
Right? So I said I wasn't buying a monitor until the OLED ones became more plentiful, and I got that like the OLED TV, which is going to be like kind of my console specific television. But this one's, I mean, it's good. Like I literally have nothing bad to say about it, short of I'm not sold on the curve yet. I'm getting used to the curve.
Yeah, the curve, I could take it or leave it. I don't think it really does anything for me. It doesn't bother me, which is good, but
it's subtle. Like the thing I don't understand is like it's subtle. Like it's subtle enough that like it doesn't really do anything.
It doesn't do anything.
So like at that point, just give me a straight panel. And like I've been using a 42-inch flat panel.
Right.
So then going to a 32-inch curve doesn't really...
Yeah, I think if you have an ultra wide, I think that's when you start to know the difference. Because your peripheral vision, if it's within the curve, you're going to get a more immersive experience, I think. But 32, where you can clearly see. And then the only issue I have with it is I have a second monitor, and the curve kind of obstructs my vision a little bit of the second monitor. Yeah. I don't like that. So
or you have to like move the monitor out a little bit to do stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm typically, I like the cleanliness of just one monitor. I mean, there's obviously plenty of benefits to having multiples. But we'll see. Like, I played it on Tekken. Like, Tekken ran fine. It is a, like, semi-gloss, like, reflection matte thing, which I was worried because I'm like, is it not going to, like, feel, like, really high contrast like a TV? But it was fine. Like, it works really well.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, you like it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would get one of those.
You should. It's really good.
But the problem is, like, what do I do with the one I have now?
Put it on Facebook.
Yeah. Maybe I'll reach out to Chelsea. I wonder how much I could get for that. Like $100?
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to just get the model number, see what it's going for now, and then cut it. And honestly, like, if you really want to get it, gone, 25% of whatever the current retail value is, and you can get that out. I have a 55-inch OLED that I gotta sell. I think I'm just gonna give it to my mom.
Too big for me. Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna, because she's gonna be like, I can't possibly take this, whatever. So we're giving her my my old entertainment stand. Yeah, I'm gonna upgrade her, and I'm just gonna say like, TV comes with it. It's like a loaner. We can't fit it we really can't fit it anywhere. No. I like the 42-inch for the podcast area because that's good enough that if we ever want to like bring something up on the TV or something, it's like a perfect size, not overwhelming. Right. And it's small enough too. Like, I think that's a perfect gaming size for a PlayStation. Like, I'll sit fairly close to it. It'll be good.
No, I think you're right. I think it's a great size. So
yeah.
Well, lucky Sally.
Yeah, I wonder if my dad eventually just is like, I'll put the OLED in his room, and then my mom will get the old, which is my old TV, which is a really good one. It's the Samsung one. But that is also curved. It's a curved TV.
Oh, okay. I'm not a fan of that.
It's weird because the TVs, I was like, man, I don't like the curved TV. But then when I got my completely flat widescreen, which I don't really like widescreens, so I'm like, man, I should got curved widescreen.
I think that's the play.
Yeah. So for this one, I was like, well, it's got great reviews. It has crazy color accuracy. It's like the number one thing on ratings. Like, I was like, this is it. Finally, we've made it where there's no downside, right? Like, it's you have everything. Which feels good. Yeah. I think the one thing that they said was like, if you can kind of see it, it has almost like a purple sheen when it's off, and that's just the QD OLED panel. They just have a purple sheen while they're off.
You like purple though?
Yeah, it's fine.
No, it's a beautiful piece of technology.
Yeah, I got a little monitor arm with it. The monitor arm was like the $30 Amazon Basics thing.
$30 to hold up a
and it's awesome. Like, it's great.
Yeah,
like it's super sturdy. I think the only thing with that is like, I'm right on the edge of everything for a 32-inch. Like, it's really meant for a 27-inch.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I'm so jealous of your setup. You have such a great desk and it's so organized.
It's gonna be that desk.
Mine's a mess
over here coming out, and it'll be nice. Like, it'll be a good workstation.
Man. I wish I had what you have.
The thing over here is actually gonna be wider. That's a 30-inch desk. The one over here is gonna be 39.
Wow, it's gonna go out to the edge of the carpet here.
Yeah, so it's gonna be 6 feet horizontally here, and it's gonna be 39 inches deep. Yeah.
Is this where we're gonna sit? I think this is a great length. Any more than this, I might feel I'm too far away from you.
No. If anything, it'll be slightly closer because we'll actually be on the table. So we're going back to the.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna like that a lot. Cool.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see because like I said, my brother-in-law is building just a cube basically of like, it's gonna look like this. It's gonna be this color. It's this wood. Here you go. Do you like this? And I'll be like, yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna have to be like some crazy bad looking thing for me to be like, no. So it's just like, run with it, man.
Yeah. That'll be great. That'll be great. No, cool. I know you wanted to mention that, but
yeah,
you have a great setup, dude. You should take a picture of your setup, put it on our Twitter.
Oh, yeah,
on our X.
I gotta clean it up a little bit.
So good.
Yeah, stage it.
Dang. How's your Twitch career going? Good?
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's really good. Garden season's coming up.
I was
getting prepared for that.
I was thinking about going on some Twitch and just streaming Tekken. But
let's do it.
Dude, I was
thinking about that too because no one plays Nina.
Yeah.
I cannot find Nina content. I might be the guy.
I might come up,
be the guy. I'll create a guide for Nina. Fuck everyone else.
not to go like because we just did D&D and that will go into an hour-long discussion of Tekken, but
we have Tekken on our list. So
I played 2 online matches and I was like, all right, I'll just play, and if I win, I'm good. I'll step back.
Okay,
and I did it. So I fought 2 Jins
in a row.
Different guys.
Okay,
and just I like after you and I played last night, and I was like, okay, like. You gave me some really good pointers, which I like. I like it's like, hey man, like this is what I'm seeing. This is like some patterns, work on this. So I did that. I slowed it down. I just started doing like some jabs, and then like I really capitalized whenever, like just crushed them.
Night and day.
Crushed them. Now the first one, technically, I was down too. So he beat me like round. I'm like, okay, I gotta like calm down, listen to what you're doing. I got one back on him, and I got another one back on him. The final round, perfect. And then the next gen is the same thing, but that I just swept the guy. But anyway, I'm the next level up from Destroyer now, so I'm Eliminator, I think.
Still orange though.
Still orange, right before Garyu or whatever it is. Yeah.
Which is the middle point. Most communities in that.
But I feel like here's the thing. Like I know how we were saying like we don't feel like we belong there. But I feel like we're fighting for it, at least right now. But I feel like no, we earned that spot, and then we'll keep climbing. I think the fact that you were there is enough to kind of kick me in the butt to like just keep inching forward and stuff. And then the developer of the game, apparently that's like a hidden achievement. If you find him in the ghost battle underground, you can fight him. And
I did that.
I just did that today. I didn't even realize.
I was going to tell you about that, but I was like, I don't want to spoil it for him. So I thought it was so funny.
So I have that. Like literally, the only thing I have left to do in that game is have Kazuya win in the story mode.
Okay.
So like whenever like the big epic thing is, and like Kazuya's like,
you lose to him.
I'm going to crush you, and you just lose on purpose. That will 100% the game.
Oh,
for me.
nice. Yeah, there's not too many achievements.
47.
Yeah, but I have a lot of them already.
Well, it just beat the game with the characters. Yeah.
No, I really like the point which we're at, where it's like at first it's like it was super fun because we were just figuring out which character we wanted to play as, and we were just doing random. Nobody knew what was going on. And then the second stage was like, okay, I think we picked our characters. We're just gonna fight. We're gonna try to just one up each other. But now it's like, okay, we're on the same side here. Let's learn from each other.
Yeah.
So like last night we were.
Dude, you were kicking my butt.
I was telling you like, hey, this is what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
It's like we're training partners now, where it's like, I'm giving you pointers, you're giving me pointers. I like that. I like that where we're at in the relationship.
The thing that kills me is like if I get through, and the problem is the higher up you go, like people just block everything I throw at them.
Yeah.
Similar to kind of what you were doing last night. But there are a couple times where like if I land like the one thing, it's done. And then it's
dangerous
just like,
though, because like I was explaining to you, one of the things I was explaining to Tyler is that you throw out a lot of unsafe moves, which means if they connect, you have a free combo, or it's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
That's the balance of the game, right?
It's either I get smoked or I get a perfect. Right. There's very little middle ground. So it's like, I'm just letting you know, the higher you go, people know how to counter these moves, and you have to learn how to mix. You need more of a mix-up game, right? More 100%. Jabs, more. And to me, like, I'm kind of understanding more of the framework of how the game is, right? So, like, my down forward one is so there's kind of 2 mix-ups I have. So I have the regular jab, which is just one, or a down forward one, which is a mid jab, right? Yep.
And then there's a whole tree that comes out of this where I can go 2, another high jab. I can go 1 plus 2, which is a mid, and you start mixing up, understanding your mix-up game, where it becomes mind games of, what am I going to do? Am I going to go low? Am I going to go mid? I have a lot of options out of this string. I'm beginning to understand that concept of the neutral game, which is so important.
Where we're at right now, people do have the tendencies of like they'll always get up the same way, which I don't know why I just started like springing forward out of nowhere. Like I really got to break that because that was literally
I
like
was just
I
showing
just
you.
started doing that in a day.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't like
you were doing the jump kick forward.
Yeah.
And
you just
step
wait.
back
Yeah,
and then
you just
boom.
wait. That's it.
Easy counter.
And it's like I don't know where that habit came from because it literally I just started doing it that day.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, so
it's
I didn't do that
maybe
at
I'll try
all.
this and then
Like I didn't do that at all today.
You know that slide I've been doing? I did a low slide. So I was recently just going through the list and I'm like, oh, this is a nice little long range move. And then I found myself and you were blocking it. Because I was like, okay, I'm doing it too much.
Well, that's the thing is like, you're 3 characters away from me.
Yeah, he's going to slide.
Go, yeah. And it's the same thing with like your heat where like when you're consciously like, I'm going to mix it up, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then there are plenty of times I'm like, and then we go just like, classic. Like
what happens is I use my heat and I want to continue the combination. And Tyler uses his heat. And since it's an armor move,
stop it.
The punches I do just don't do anything and then he hits me back. Yeah.
Yeah. But like for what we played, like I contribute a lot of that where like maybe I wouldn't have won those 2 matches today if it wasn't for like just us going back and forth and like really like pinpointing certain things and doing stuff where I don't know. I'm slowly learning new stuff. I was in practice mode a little bit trying to like find new connectors to like combos and like, it's crazy, but that's something that I'm definitely gonna like stick with. And it's fun because it's like if I could feel myself like slowly waning off, then it's like, oh, Eddie Gordo's on or the Tekken shop's on or something like that. And it's just like, okay, right back in.
Well, dude, I'm the same way where it's like I'm really frustrated with how rank's going. I go to the custom. I love just making outfits for my characters.
Yeah.
It's just such a de-stressor. It's like I mean that game's just really fun.
Apparently I was a little loud last night, so I gotta dial that back a little bit. Whenever I was getting so just
I mean I was actually feeling I've been really getting killed in ranked and it was hard mentally, but the night we played, I actually did really well. And then that confidence kind of translated into our 1v1s where I was doing really well against you.
Yeah.
Confidence is so huge. I mean, it's just like everything's about quickness in that game. And I think you were like saying like, oh, you're so quick. Your character's so quick. I think a lot of it is just if you're one step ahead in your inputs, and that's what the pros do, I think. And I mean, take it with a grain of salt. I just started playing this game like fucking 3 weeks ago. So what do I know? But I think the pros are just one step ahead of their inputs and they're already putting things in and anticipating your move. Right. So I think that's an aspect of it where it's like my idea of how I want to conduct the next part of this fight is already there. And then I'm thinking about what your response is. Like I know what my input is. That's gone. That's just my hands are just going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to react to how you do it. Like if you block, I'm going to go this way. If I knock you up, I'm going to try to do my combo, things like that.
And that's why it's so tough to start a new character because like a lot of the thought processes go into like you have to get new muscle memory.
Yes.
Which is really cool and really frustrating.
So there's twofold on this. One is, the combos. I'm starting to do Nina combos on Azucena. So I started learning Azucena a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's an aspect of that. But I will say like the baseline fundamentals, it gets easier because you're like, oh, here's her armor. Here's her knockups. Here's her whirlwinds. Like I know these concepts. I don't have to learn these concepts and the moves. It's just I have to learn the moves.
The button presses to do the knock up.
So it's like there's a positive and negative to that.
Yeah.
And then when I can translate like her forward 1+2 is her armor move as well, which is the same as Nina. So I'm like, oh, okay, sweet. So like starting to make connections.
Awesome, but then mine's the opposite. I have to go back 1-2. So it's like it translates to some characters, and I feel like you'd naturally be drawn to certain things that are like similar.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I'm also trying to get used to her stance. Nina does not have any stances, any unique stances. So although they consider like the quarter circle,
there are some
the
moves
dash.
that
It's
like,
a stance, but it's not really like Azucena has a stance that she goes in, like the Liberator stance. She literally goes into it, and she can stay there forever until you do something. And then the backward stance is the same way. So that's a new concept I'm trying to get used to. But it's fun. Like her Liberator stance is awesome. There's so much mix-up potential. Yeah. There's a lot of possibilities there, and I'm just trying to get a little better at her.
Yeah, it is wild how like you were talking about confidence, like going into a match thinking like, oh gosh, I hope I don't lose is like putting you at such a disadvantage compared to like going in being like, all right, I'm going to crush this guy, moving on to the next one type of like feeling. And I know that just goes to like sports and everything. You know, it's like if you're going in with a winning mindset, like I'm not saying you're guaranteed to win, but you're going to be like in a better position than like overly thinking something or always being on defense.
Well, think about it. Like how much, even if it's milliseconds, how much of a delay are you doing if you're second guessing yourself, even if it's for a split second, right? And that could be the difference between my input getting before you and me, you know, countering you, right? So I can even tell too, you get a couple wins against me, man, you knock me into a corner, you know exactly what you're doing. Yeah. And your strings are fantastic. Like your neutral game is one of the best parts of your game. Where like I feel like you know Law's strings really well, which is why I think personally you should stick with Law, because I think you have a very good understanding of the character. Yeah,
it's just whenever I go into a losing streak, I'm like, screw this character and find something else. But
I'm the same way. There's so many times where I'm like, well, Nina's hard, so I should just find an easy character and I should just play Kuma.
Law makes sense, but that's again, most of his stuff was from 3. So it's like, okay, like that all translated.
Well, you have that history too, which I think is such a huge advantage.
But a lot of the characters don't have that. Like Paul is very different. Not always like super, super different, but like different enough to not feel as good as Law. Same thing with like Jack's completely reworked. Like Ling is, I think there, but they expanded her so much that it's like a completely different thing. And like Huarong is, I was never.
So
good
Ling
with
is
him.
Xiao Yu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's her last name?
Yeah, Ling Xiaoyu. Yeah.
Wait, her first name?
Ling is her first name, which is
Ling
weird because
Xiaoyu.
they use the first name for like everybody else except like Law and like sometimes they use the last name, sometimes they use the first.
I was like, she seems like a good character to pick up, but I don't know if she's hard.
She's really cool, but she has a lot of stances are a big deal. With a lot of that stuff.
Well, I was talking about the Kuma that absolutely wrecked my life. I played one Kuma in my ranked career, and he 3-0'd me easy.
You know, the Elisa, like the robot chick, like you do not see her.
Really? No, you see her in lower ranks a little more.
Yeah, I don't see her at all.
She's very gimmicky. I think it's
like I forgot. Like I played her in a ghost battle, and I was like, oh right, she's in this game.
She's really.
Remember Lars? When was the last time you fought a Lars?
Lars is not bad.
I've never fought one.
I fought one.
Yeah,
and he crushed me.
Yeah,
I think. There's just some characters that are more popular at lower levels. Mm-hmm. Like we saw there's like a nice graph. There's this guy that's like doing all these graphs, like win rates and character popularity and stuff that are really nice. But I think you really have to separate it by rank, like low level, mid level, high level, because I think you're going to see such a huge disparity.
Definitely.
I faced one Law, which is crazy to me.
You crushed him though, right?
Not that I think that Law is like I would have thought he would have been a more popular character, actually, which is really surprising.
Yeah.
I crushed him.
Yeah.
As soon as you find a Nina, dude, he was not as good as you, and I was like, you were toast, bro.
I fought better.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. Like, I was fighting a June the other day, and June is one of the most busted champions in this game. The first guy wrecked my life.
Yep.
And then the second guy I destroyed. That's one of my biggest gripes with the game is like, I don't know if it's just the rank I'm at, the disparity in which the player skill level that I'm playing against is he like one guy will be like amazing and then the next guy I'm like, dude, how did you even get this far? It's very strange.
Yeah. Well, and part of it could be like, hey, you know, this guy is a Tekken god or whatever super high rank that automatically gives him like where we're at, like brings all his characters up to a certain level. So like I just hit Eliminator, which then brings up every character to whatever.
Yep.
So he could have been trying June for the first time, and he just had to fight in that class because a lot of that comes down to like fundamentals and things. So it's a weird system.
I think
sure.
You can tell sometimes. I should say, like I was playing against a Kazuya, who I could tell he was good, but it just didn't seem like he was comfortable, and I beat him. So I was like, this seems like a guy who's higher rank, who's maybe trying him out. I don't know. Like his fundamentals were good. Like he was wave dashing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but he must be good if he knows how to.
Or he's just practicing and just didn't get it quite.
But he would like wave dash and then nothing, and I just kill him.
Yeah.
It was really weird. Yeah.
Huh.
Well, I've watched a lot of videos where it's like, you know, to get better, you should focus on one thing.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is I'm like, I'm going to focus on blocking low because I'm very bad at that. and you're going to lose a lot because you're just focusing on that, but it's going to make that aspect of your game better.
Yeah. And you have to be okay with that. Like, I think part of that comes down to the arcade. Now, it's easy just to jump into a ranked match and just go. But there is something to be said for, like, sitting down in an 8-person group and just jump in and see. And, like, typically, you kind of have to see, like, what people's levels are, because either you're going to get smoked or you're going to smoke them and then everyone will leave and you won't play with them. So you got to, like, find, if you're lucky enough to find a group that, like, is within your rank and everyone's, like, cool with you joining, but maybe something that doesn't hit your rank where you see your rank go down online. If you're practicing something, typically will help, because I don't mind losing if I don't see the numbers go down.
Right.
If I'm trying to level up and I'm going the opposite way, or like I see you coming up behind me and like passing me, like, oh,
that was a fun experience where like Tyler and I are just neck and neck, and I'm passing him, he's passing me. There's something to be said about rivalries, man, where it's like, man, does that make both parties better?
Well, like right now, I feel good because it's like, all right, I jumped a rank. And like I'm confident, just like sitting back a little bit,
see what I do.
Yeah, see what.
Yeah, maybe we got to play tonight.
Dude, I'll play. That's fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, do we have anything else?
We technically had a top 5. I feel like 2 hours in and doing a top 5 might be a little.
I feel good. Yeah, I feel good where we're at. We'll save that for another day.
That's a nice back pocket thing.
Keep the audience waiting. This is a good one. I have like my thoughts on that.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
John wants to be there next week.
Yes.
He got the green light there, so
nice.
Provided he doesn't have a berth in that time.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear something? I don't think Lindsay listens to this, so I'm going to just say this. I paid Freddie Prinze Jr. to record a 40-second message on why Leap Day babies, like the Leap Day birthdays, are awesome.
No chance.
What do you mean?
You really did that?
100%.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But
is that like one of her favorite?
I don't know.
Okay.
I thought he was like, I mean, it was kind of like he was priced reasonably and he's well enough known and he just seems like a nice guy and he gets it to you quickly and all that stuff.
Okay.
But she doesn't want to leap your baby.
Yeah. I knew that.
So I was like, that'd be really funny.
That's hilarious.
Because it's just like
you type the message and everything.
It's not typing the message. It's giving like parameters.
Prompt.
So it's like, what is this? And instead of a birthday, I was like, it's an encouragement or like a uplifting whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the situation or what's the scenario? And it's like, she's about to give birth.
Yeah.
So the idea is, provided I get it. So I did cheap out because you can pay $50 to get it within 24 hours, or he'll give it to you within a week. Now he's known for being fairly prompt. So I'm rolling the dice and just like, hopefully I'll get it by Thursday.
Yeah.
But the idea is send it to her Thursday morning, and the whole shtick is like, hey, even if you give birth today, like, you're going to be great parents. Don't worry about it. It's awesome. All good. But I did ask John if she knew who Freddie Prinze, or does she like Freddie Prinze Jr.? And he was like, I don't think she knows who he is. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be awkward. Chelsea thinks that she does. And I mean, he was kind of a big deal back when we were a little younger. So.
Okay. I was going to say, you got to get someone she loves.
Oh, well, they didn't have Adele, so I don't know what to...
Adele doesn't do, like, what's it called?
Dude, it ranged from, like, if you wanted, like, Chuck Norris, it's like, it's $400 or something. And it's like, man, there are better things for that amount. Yeah, there are better things you could do with that money.
Yeah.
Like, I could literally buy you $400 worth of diapers or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Wow, Chuck Norris. He probably gets a ton.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Dude, he's not even the highest one. Like, there are tons of rappers that are like $1,500 and stuff like that. So it's like,
no thanks.
Yeah. Do you ever watch Even Stevens on Disney Channel? Is that before your time? Do you know Beans?
Yep.
The character Beans?
Yep.
He's like $35. Yeah. I might do that for my sister.
Beans sounds like a third.
Yeah. Dude, he's like bald now, like a big goatee and everything. Yeah.
It's exactly how you thought Beans was going to grow up, 100%.
So I might do my sister's birthday.
He sounds like a great guy, though. I've seen a couple interviews.
He seemed cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
I like Freddie Prinze Jr. a lot. He did the voice of the Bull in Dragon Age or Dragon Age Inquisition.
Oh, yeah, the big, yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Anyway, so that's my big, we'll see how that turns out. Yeah, hopefully it's
that's such a Tyler move, dude. That's so cool.
I wanted to do something funny, and we were talking it last week. Like Nate and I were just gonna like send her like hey, happy birthday to the little boy or whatever on Leap Day.
Yeah.
So I think this is like
one step.
One extra step.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, keep us posted on how that goes.
I will, yeah.
By next week, we'll know what the response is.
Yeah. Either John will be here and can tell.
Oh, yeah. John will be here and tell the reaction.
Or he won't.
Perfect.
And he'll be in the hospital with his baby.
That's also a possibility.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, if you reached this far in the podcast, you must
love D&D and Tekken.
Yeah, I went super long. I need to chill out on that.
There are plenty of people like D&D.
I apologize to the listeners. I get passionate about it. I did really just want your feedback, and like I said, you don't get that as a dungeon master. It's always like you're cooped up in your little hut.
Well, here's the thing: for people listening, if you're listening on Spotify, which the majority of our listeners are, like I think well over half, I think over 60% are on Spotify. There is literally a comment section on Spotify.
Yeah, leave me a comment. Tell me
ideas. Tell
me what to do.
Yeah.
Everyone who plays D&D has ideas, man.
Absolutely.
So leave a comment.
And by law, you have to do all the ideas that get submitted. So
I'll tell you what, I'll try.
Yeah.
And if anyone leaves me a comment on what to do, I'll definitely try it.
I bet you get at least one.
It can't be you.
I won't bet, but I'm pretty sure you're going to get at least one.
Right. We appreciate you listening this far. We're going to be here. Same time, same place next week. I'm going to add this a little late. Check us out on couchcompany.games. Reviews pending. They're coming.
I'll get it. I know.
They're coming.
I know.
It's anticipation. It's good.
Yeah, I know. The thing that kills it is like the moment I'm done with Prince of Persia, it's like, well, you got Tekken.
Yeah. Just start with the Tekken one. You love Tekken.
Yeah, I know, but I like Tekken, so that's going to be, I think, easier. I need to get through Prince. Yeah. I'm more than halfway done.
Get over the hurdle.
Yeah.
And then you get to the fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check us out, couchcompany.games. We have our ratings on there. So we've rated those games. We have a link to the games we've rated. So Prince of Persia, Tekken, I think are the only two so far.
Yeah. We'll do Balatro. I'm definitely put something out for that by next week.
Yeah.
Persona.
Persona's coming.
Probably by next week if you're going to jump right back into Final Fantasy.
Yeah, so I think I should be able to do it. I'm going to grind a lot this weekend.
Yeah. So no Tekken tonight.
Yeah, probably no Tekken tonight. But so check us out there. And top fives are coming. And
we have 2 in the pipeline that I feel good about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. And then, we're going to be here. Same time, same place. Next week. Thanks for joining us on the couch.